Hey Google, play royalty-free music.
Playing royalty-free music on YouTube Music.
Hello, everybody. Let's make sure we're live. And let me open up my beer.
I just got the little YouTube buzz. Talking about the vibration on my phone, not like a beer buzz.
Hello, Dennis. We are live.
Good timing.
Oh, yeah.
I had computer issues. I just...
That's okay. We're live now. Well, let's just make sure we're live. Open up the stream. You guys access it okay?
Yeah.
My end's working fine.
All right. Hey, Google. Hey, Google.
Sure.
Volume 8.
Oh, God. Jesus.
Hello, guys. This is what we're going to play today on the podcast. Very good. You like? Ba-da-da-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Got my
This
beer.
is already a lot livelier than the OnePlus event.
Hell yeah, it is. Hey, Google. Hey, Google. Hey, Google. Stop.
Very nice.
By the way, I'm sitting about 5 feet away from it. So the fact that it doesn't want to stop and start and it can't hear me, that's not good. I think it used to be better.
Well, they seem to think, Google, that they're making that better, but I tend to agree. I was standing about 2 feet away from my one the other day and it didn't even react. So it's a bit concerning.
Anyway,
oh well, very good.
hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Blind Tech Guys Podcast, episode number 79. My name is Nimer, and I'm joining you today from California, where it was about 25 degrees today. What is that, 75, 78, somewhere around there. Quite warm, at least for this time of year, and felt pretty good. I was out in the sun, and I was doing a mandatory privacy and security training for my job. Very good. That's what I spent my day doing.
Oh,
Yes, very fun.
yours took a whole day. Wow.
Well, it was about an hour and a half or so. It wasn't the whole day, but
Well, still
still a while.
It's a hefty security training.
Yes. And I am joining you today from, I don't know, let's pick a random place. How about Moldova? We don't have anybody from the podcast on there, so I'm from Moldova. And I got some guests on. Hello, mystery guest.
I can't even do I can't even do a Moldova accent because I've got no idea what the Moldova
I
accent
think maybe
would be.
Roski.
Roski, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
Speaking of Ruskis, I've got a Ruski coming round to build a couple of shelves for me for storage. So I guess I better not piss him off, eh?
They're not Iranis this time.
Yeah. No.
All right.
No. So hello everybody. Hey Dennis, welcome, and Kurt, welcome, and yeah, it's around about the same here actually, about 25. What's that? 70 odd. Very nice day today. Very pleasant.
Yes. Yep.
Can't complain.
Okay, so we've got a number of things that we're going to be doing today, and very glad for you guys that joined us. I know I blasted the email out pretty widely, or this event pretty widely, so I think we got like 4 people in here
You reckon?
so far.
I reckon I got about the half a dozen emails today. Very good.
Well, if you didn't know about it, you do now, and I'm glad that you guys are here. We have a number of things that we're going to do. We have a news section today with a couple of things to discuss. We've got a what do we got? An interview with the keyboard.
Yeah, I think it was with Clark
Hable.
Gable, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was
Oh,
Lewis
Hable,
and Clark and somebody else. There
Yeah,
was like
sorry,
3
not
of them. I
Gable.
forget their names.
Hable,
Clark
which you
Gable.
can't put on your
Very
table. Very good.
Yeah, I look at the name and I keep wanting to say Habla. So
Yeah, Habla.
with the keyboard Habla.
It just
And
sounds so
anyway.
much more, I don't know, kind of cool when you call it Hubble. Or Hable.
Hable.
Yeah.
Well, they're from the Netherlands, so I kind of thought it would be Hable or Hable, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
But
it was
no,
quite
it's
funny
Hable.
because in the interview when they just said Hable, I was like, oh, well, that's very boring then.
So anyway, we've got about a 15, 20-minute interview with Hable, and we'll play that for you. And then we're going to talk about web apps. And I've seen a lot of emails come through, and it's not been
Oh, they're not
recent,
very
it's a
accessible,
lot.
are they?
Yeah, they're not accessible, and we should all be using Outlook Express, and that's the
Yeah, very
TLDR.
good.
So if you're listening
Yeah.
to this, then you can just stop listening now.
Well, I use Outlook Express. I'll just mute for the rest of the podcast. Nice knowing you guys. Very good. I like. I might go and get a beer as well.
That's that.
Whilst I'm
then,
muted.
huh?
Yeah, that's it. Kish, kish.
Well, it's been good
No,
having you on
seriously.
the pod, Marco.
Seriously, though, we will discuss web apps, and I will demonstrate Gmail, the use of Gmail, how to make it accessible, because you have to enable keyboard shortcuts if you have not already. So I'll talk a little bit about what you might want to do that. I don't know what all that background noise is. Somebody's having a good time. You know,
It's not me
we
this
have a
time.
mute button. Oh, okay, that's Dennis. Hey, Dennis, we have a mute button. No, I'm kidding. Anyway.
We're multi-tracking again. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, we are multi-tracking. Don't worry about it. We can cancel out the noise. We can just remove your track altogether.
Control-Alt-K. It's a very good function.
Oh, man. Yeah, so we will talk about web apps, and I will demonstrate Gmail with the use of NVDA, and we'll talk about how it differs from JAWS, narrator, voiceover, anything else. And this is an ongoing series, so moving forward, we will be talking about web apps, at least for a few weeks, because you can really do a lot with web apps, and they're really powerful, and you can use them in Chrome, Chrome OS, on Mac, Linux,
Brave, anything, pretty much.
anything. So we will be talking about web apps for a while, and I think there's a lot of interest in that. And then
We have our Did You Know section where we're talking about settings on both the iPhone and Android, and we'll be going through basically from top to bottom what settings are available. Today we're talking about account settings, so I will be demonstrating that on Android, and Mr. Kurt over there will be doing it on his iPhone.
On my iPhone, yeah.
By the way, we've got somebody on here named David. Hello, David.
Yeah, I just saw this, but he's very quiet.
I'm not sure who
Yeah.
a David is,
David,
or I
hi.
don't even think I gave a link to a David. But hello, David. I think we're going to ban you from our studio because I have no idea who you are. But if it was an accident and you are supposed to be here, let us know. But otherwise, it was good knowing you. Kish kish.
Yeah, I don't know who David is. It's very weird. And then, of course, after that, Mr. Nimer, we have our emails, and I believe we've got a submission on our web form as well as a listener email that I saw come through.
Sorry,
So
that
with
was
the
me.
feedback.
That was my fault.
Yep, we do have a couple of form submissions. One of them grades us, so it'll tell us what grade we get. And one of them
okay.
is some actual feedback, so that'll be interesting. And then we have an email, a couple of emails, some suggestions on things to cover. So we'll talk about those.
Indeed, and one of them I didn't understand very well. I think I did respond back to that one, so that'll be interesting to read that one. Very good. And that's about it for today, ladies and gents. So, as Nimmer likes to say, grab your popcorn, grab your love, although it's pretty warm here to be cuddling up, so maybe put the aircon on at the same time. And enjoy. And I know, Kurt, we're going to enjoy very much.
Absolutely.
Because I now have a beer here as well. Very
Got
good.
mine. We're all good.
All right. So what's new in the news? And this first article that we're going to discuss today has to do
Oh, we
with
have
Google.
articles. Oh, good. Very good. That must have been a last minute to find. Very good.
Yeah.
Something about Google discovering old news. Don't they always discover old news? Hello?
So the Discover feed on an Android device, if anyone who does not know, is if you're on your home screen and you take two fingers and swipe them to the left, I think.
Yeah.
Left?
Yeah, to the left.
Yeah, or no, maybe it's right. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Anyway, it's the last. It's the last home screen. I don't have my phone, and I do this all the time. So I don't
Yeah,
even
it's to the
remember.
left. You have to go all the way through until the end.
Yeah. So okay. So that's the Discover feed. You have a bunch of news articles, and it tends to be things that Google thinks that you're interested in, and things that you've said that you're interested in as well.
All right.
So the Google Discover feed, turns out, is showing older articles to some users. So
Wow.
if you are looking at it, and it used to be that it was really relevant information, recent news, things like that. And now, and I've noticed this, it's actually showing some articles that may be 5 days old, a week old, 2 weeks old, like just some of the same stagnant articles.
Yeah.
So we have an
Well, I'm
article
glad-
on that.
I'm glad you noticed that because I never use it. So very good.
I do use it. I actually find it really helpful, and sometimes that's how I get the articles for this podcast, because it does give pretty relevant. Like, it knows what I
Okay.
like. I mean, if Google doesn't know what I like by now, there's a problem. But it
Right.
knows what I like, and so it definitely.
I have to say that I normally use the Google News app. I know that you can. I just go through that, and then I have my ad blocker on, so I don't have to look at all their pesky ads because that drives me nuts. And that tends to work all right. Or I must say, I'm a what's it called? Telegraph reader. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. I
Telegraph.
can't remember. I've had a mental blank. I don't know. It's the publication from the UK. I can't think of its name
There's
right
the
now.
Telegraph and the Guardian and
Guardian, that's the one. I'm a Guardian subscriber as well. But that's about all I use for news. I find that news just gets me down. There's too much bad news around these days.
Yeah, so what what my Discover gives me doesn't tend to be a lot of some news, but more local stuff. So, for example, if there's I don't know, a local story near me or something that I might be interested in, and it also does surface tech articles, and it surfaces. Like I was looking up stuff, different hiking routes the other day, and now I see information on different hiking spots, which can be cool. So I don't know.
Can blind people hike?
Yeah. We go with a person, and they take us where we want to go, and then we walk around, and they drag us behind them, and
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they're good.
Do you walk along with like a rope or something?
Yeah, rope. Very good, rope. Yeah, we have rope here.
Excellent. Oh, well.
Okay, so welcome to the 5 people that we have watching, and as we go along, feel free to add anything or write any comments that you have in the chat. That would be very very good, and we'll try to read that out loud too. The next thing that we have is Strap. We mentioned Strap in the past.
Ah, yes. They seem to get mentioned quite often on here.
yeah.
Yes, yeah. So Strap is, if you haven't heard, go back to episode number 62. You can listen to
And 63 and
Hey.
64.
No, I don't think it's quite that. Come on, man. No.
Nah, probably
we
not
did
that
do
much.
We did do an interview with Strap and with Ben and Diego. They came on and talked to us about what it was and that kind of thing. And anyway, they had some issues on their website where I talked about last week. If you tried to go to pre-order, they gave you one price, and then you go to pay, and they say you get a discount, and it actually raised the price. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, it was like 1,000% up. It was very well done
Yeah.
by them and very inadvertently put in.
Yes.
Quick thinking.
Well, that's been fixed. So if you
Oh.
go to their website now, you can pre-order Strap at a rate of $500 US, whereas the normal price is $750.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
that
the
sounds more
50 is all gone goodbye.
No. So here's a few more things to that. If you use if you use the code STRAP15, you can get 15% off of that $500 price. So you drop down to whatever that is, what, 450 or whatever
425.
that 425, whatever that is. Yeah, there you go. 425. Somebody does better math than I do. So you drop down to 425. Now, they have a few ways that you can pay. One is you can
Have they got
Pay.
Pell Pay?
I no, we haven't set that up yet. We should though.
Oh, we should suggest that to Diego.
Yeah,
Likes PalPay. Yeah.
So one is, even with the 50%, even with that coupon code, you can pay $50 up front, and then the rest of the amount is charged once the item ships. So even if you apply the 15% discount, it still is $50.
Right. Okay.
But
Yeah.
the rest of the amount is charged later. So in this case, it would be $375.
$375.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay.
So you still get the 15% discount, but you don't get it off the $50.
Well, it's still a pretty good bargain, though, really, when you think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
$375 left over, and, well, depending on how you pay, if you're using Latitude or one of those sorts of cards or whatever, you could get up to 6 months to pay it off, so makes life a bit easier. It's not too bad.
Yeah. Yep. So
yeah,
I think
for what it is.
Yeah, it's something worth considering. We are very excited. I shouldn't speak for the other three things on here. I'm very excited for a
Oh,
cane
good, I'm a
replacement.
thing. Excellent. Beautiful. I'll be a cane.
I hate canes. So you
I'll
know
be
what
a
I
cane
hate?
tip.
And I hate cane tips, so I'll just kick you out. No, I'm kidding.
Where's David?
I still have no idea who this David is.
No, I don't know who
It's
David
kind
is.
of concerning that
We haven't-
somebody
we
got
haven't
our
even
link.
got a-
and-
I'm very
I
worried.
thought
Well,
I sent him. I sent him the link. I thought I sent him the YouTube link. I must have grabbed the wrong one.
Oh,
Oops.
oh, well, that's
yeah,
it.
you
Well,
grabbed the wrong
Yeah.
one. Very
Yeah.
nice.
There we go.
Well,
Well,
let's
we'll be
not
coming back
out of
again.
the
Sorry about that,
studio.
guys.
hey, at least you came clean about it now.
Yeah, I kicked him out of our studio. So I'm sorry, Dave. If you wanted to rejoin, I mean,
well, you
as
won't
as
be able
can,
to
but
now. Very good.
I didn't ban him. I think he can
Oh,
join
okay.
it.
Right. But no, so it's pretty cool. Finally, they've actually sorted out the website, which is great. It did take about 4 months, but that's okay. We got there in the end, so
Yeah.
happy days to them and happy days to me, because I definitely will be looking at pre-ordering. I think it's a pretty good...
Yeah,
Pretty
me
good
I am
device.
definitely
Promises a lot.
interested in it. You know, one thing I think that has to be kept in mind, it will be version 1.0, and I saw somebody on another email list this weekend say for the price of the AirPod Max, there should be no bugs. If that's your expectation and you're ordering this, don't order it, because no software.
Well, there's a
is
big
perfect.
difference between a device that
Well-
helps you be more independent and a device that lets you play music. Sorry,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm going to stop right there and just say there's a big difference. This is my opinion, and we are all entitled to agree and disagree on this podcast. But there's a huge difference between a device that you pop on your ears and you listen to music. And maybe if you're an audiophile, you're probably throwing things at me right now, and you're probably like, you're wrong.
No,
You're an idiot.
I'm
you
not
don't
going
know
to
what
be
you're
throwing
talking
things
about.
at you, because I think you're about to say that it's... Well, anyway, go on.
If you're a music person and you think, first of all, you think AirPods are great, then you need to get your ears examined. But second of all,
Yeah.
even if AirPods are the greatest thing in the world, if you think that holds more value to a possible device that provides enhanced independence, then I don't know what the hell's wrong with you.
Yeah.
So Dennis, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you.
No, I mean, I just don't subscribe to the fact that there won't be something that they'd have to update via software or something like that. You know, I don't subscribe to the idea that any
Have a look.
software.
On occasion, I see Teslas that are $50,000 going
It's
and
bug-free.
crashing into buildings and whatever
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
And these are $50,000 vehicles. So of course there's going to be issues and bugs, but should that stop you from buying something?
Oh, absolutely not.
I don't know. That's your choice, I guess.
I mean,
But
would
I don't know
subscribe-
how Strap is going to be. I should put it up front and say we don't have it, and we hope to be the first podcast to review it. But I don't know how Strap is going to be. I have a lot of reservations on whether or not it will actually replace the cane. I don't think it will.
Yeah.
No.
But I do think that it will enhance independence and provide us information and provide us a way of navigating around maybe more familiar areas that we don't have now.
Yeah.
And
I think
for
the
that,
way to look at it, though, is to say that it's going to be enhance. I think
I
how you
agree.
put it earlier. It's
Yeah.
going to enhance
I
your
think it's gonna be
ability
an
to get around.
enhancement
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
could
So-
potentially be a very helpful aid. I'm excited.
And I can tell you now, I completely agree. If you're mad enough to pay or actually, it's more than that. I think it's $600 for a pair of AirPod Max. Then you do need your
Yeah,
ears
that's-
examined. Honestly,
Yeah.
that's just
Well,
an
that's
absolute
what
ridiculousness.
I said. I can't justify 6, 7, 750, whatever it is. I can't justify it for a pair of headphones when I can get a pair of Bose or Sony ones
Yeah.
or
Yeah, or if you're gonna spend that much, you can get a much better headphone.
Well, actually, you can get a
But-
very decent pair of Sennheiser, which I've got for about $400, which shit all over anything that's made
Yeah.
by Apple. I can assure you. So
yeah.
But see, like to me, this strap, even if
Yeah.
it sucks,
It's far
even
more
if
valuable.
it's terrible,
Yeah.
even if it's the most terrible device in the world that has no point to it at all, I can buy 6 of them for the same price that I can buy a pair of Envision glasses.
yeah.
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for it as a blind person because there are a lot of things, in that 5 to 10 foot away range that my cane's not always going to see very well
No.
or that aren't
That's
on the
right.
ground, where it's like having that little bit of extra feedback might help me walk a little more gracefully and I run into a couple less things and a few less sighted people freak out. Like that might be worth it to me.
And the other thing also, Kurt, is that we've been fairly excited, I think, in the past. I know, for example, as a blind person, I was excited when this whole glasses thing started off years back. Sadly, in my opinion anyway, and I'm not sure what you guys think, all of that sort of hasn't really lived up to
Agreed.
what I would expect it to live up to. So I'm kind of hoping that this does, because at least this isn't going down what a lot of companies seem to be doing now and going down the glasses
Yeah.
route.
Well,
We've had
and-
debates on this, and I think a lot of the problem is blind people themselves are to blame. Like we
Yeah.
are to blame because we say we want things to read our mail,
Yeah.
and we say
There's
we want
50
to do things
programs
that
that already
currently
do that.
exist. But but developers need to innovate, and the thing is that Strap is innovating. Even if it turns out it completely flops, it's still innovating. We need something to replace the cane. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people that are against it. Say no, the cane is great. The cane is a 100-year-old thing. It's a stick. It's not very
Yeah.
smart. It doesn't do anything for you other than detects obstacles
On the
Sorry.
ground,
And
on
the
the
other
ground.
thing with a cane is that you have to, well, not necessarily hope, but there is a kind of hope sort of thing that you're actually swinging the right way. If there's something that's coming up and you're swinging the wrong way,
You're going to completely
then you're
miss
probably still going to
Yeah.
hit it anyway with your
I mean,
body.
yeah, and
So
then
it
you'll
really
have to
doesn't
be
do very
mobility
much.
technique. You can minimize
Yeah.
some of that, but still,
Oh, sure,
you
you
know,
can,
Right.
absolutely, but,
Yeah.
it's not going to detect that branch that's cheek height that goes bong
Indeed.
into
Nope.
your into your
Indeed.
head.
right.
And,
So,
and like I say this as someone who swears by my cane. I love my cane. It's given me a ton
so
of
do I.
independence. But
yeah.
if I could find something that was more efficient, that didn't have to use a hand, that could, see everything in front of me at once at more
I
than
would
just
do it,
ground level,
absolutely.
like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'll use my cane in the meantime.
And I
So
honestly
anyway.
don't understand, and I've said it on previous podcasts, I don't get why there's so many, and there's a lot of Australians that are sort of dissing the product before it's even come out. Why diss something and you've never had a chance to try it? Why turn
Yeah.
around and say, oh, the cane is the be-all and end-all, but you haven't actually tried this product?
Let's
At least
this
give the
thing
product a chance.
before we
Yeah.
kill
Exactly.
it on arrival.
And we
Even if
will
it
be
just ends up
reviewing
as
it.
an
We'll be one of
augment.
the first podcasts, if not the first, to get our hands on it, and we will be reviewing it
Yeah.
because at least one of us will be ordering
I'll
it,
definitely be
pre-ordering
ordering.
it, buying
Sounds
it,
like more
whatever,
than
so-
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll certainly be getting our hands on it.
Yeah,
as
I
soon as
noticed
we
that they
can.
had fixed that website up yesterday, which is great. They did flick out a newsletter, and I'm sure quite a few folks got that, but we'll have that in the show notes as well.
Yes.
Yes, and thank you
Definitely
for
worth a look.
mentioning us in your newsletter, Strap, by the way. I did notice that.
Yes, definitely.
Which is cool.
And okay.
So
After
OnePlus
that
apparently have
battle,
got a new
Thomas, hello,
phone.
Thomas.
Thomas.
Hello, Thomas. And OnePlus has got a new phone, apparently, Nimer, but we can't find any articles about it that are of any substance. Very good.
OnePlus has new phones that nobody gives a shit about. Yes, exactly.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now, here in the States, I'm talking about the States because we have most of our listeners, at least half of our listeners in the States. Oh, I forgot. I'm so sorry. If you celebrate Passover, happy Passover.
What are we passing over? Oh, sorry, yeah. Happy Passover. Very good, yeah.
Yes, the holiday. We almost passed over Passover.
Yeah, literally.
A very happy Passover to celebrate.
Yes,
Anyway,
yes.
if we could go back, we'd add it to the beginning, but it's too late. So, very good.
Yeah, well.
In any case, OnePlus.
And happy Hanukkah. Yes.
No, that's past. That's next
Oh.
year.
Oh, we
later
passed
this
over
year.
that one. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Oh God.
So OnePlus is released
There's one minus here.
a watch and 2 phones, and nobody cares about them. And at least
really.
here in the States, there are some troubles if you get a OnePlus. So if you get the OnePlus 9 or the OnePlus 9 Pro, on AT&T they don't have band 14. In fact, they don't support 5G at all on AT&T.
Oh.
Very good.
So if you got AT&T, it's probably not a phone that you might want to consider. You
might
might
be a
not
one
want to
gone.
consider.
Yeah.
And band 14 is important, at least here, because it's intended as a first responder band, but it's also used by consumers as a low band. And so in areas where you have minimal coverage or no coverage, band 14 will give you that coverage. And so you want the phone ideally with that band 14. Now, if you have Verizon, they just certified it for 5G, but it doesn't have a lot of the bands. Like, for example, their new C band that's coming out.
Oh.
These phones don't have the C band. And Verizon is going to be heavily depending on that C band that was just auctioned off. And they're going to start deploying that. So if you don't know what I mean, I'm just babbling about spectrum bands. That's to say, OnePlus is not supporting all the spectrum bands.
But the
for
C band,
Verizon.
isn't that the one that they're also, with Verizon, going to utilize a lot of their 5G stuff on as well?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so basically your phone's going to be a 4G phone, pretty much. Well, over here in Australia, we don't, not to the best of my knowledge anyway, you can certainly order it, but you've got to order it from Asia. I haven't seen it on any shelves, that's
Yeah.
for sure. It's definitely
The only
not,
carrier that's supporting it here is
here.
T-Mobile. And
Oh,
so if
great.
you want a OnePlus phone here, you're going to buy it directly from T-Mobile because they're supporting it, they're selling it, and they will support all the bands on T-Mobile, except for when T-Mobile rolls out C-band, but they're not
gonna
going to
take
have
a
that in
while.
all areas, and that's not. Yeah, it might take a while. So the new OnePlus 9 and 9 Pros. One of them is $729, the 9 Pro is $969, and the biggest
Wow.
difference is one extra camera.
Yeah, but $969 for a OnePlus, wow. Might as well
Yep.
just
Yes.
get a Samsung. That's craziness.
Yes.
My God.
Quite expensive.
Sheesh. That thing
the
would want to
camera
do something pretty
reviews-
special.
So they made a big deal because they have this special branded camera. They call it the Hasselblad camera. The Hasselblad is a manufacturer of cameras, and they put together cameras, I think, for NASA or somebody. You know, they're a pretty big wig in photography. I know nothing about photography, but apparently
heard of
they're
it.
pretty big in photography.
Alrighty then.
Apparently, though, they haven't done very
Has it
much
got a
with
lot
this
of hassle?
current phone. Yeah, they've modified the software a little bit, but apparently it doesn't quite stack up to, according to some of the reviews that I look at, it's not stacking up to some of the other phones, and it's certainly not better than other phones. Even if you can make the argument that it is equal to other phones, it's certainly not better. So I don't know, but it might be worth it if you're on T-Mobile and you want to get a phone like that. The one thing that OnePlus does have that I like is the slider. So you can go from ring to vibrate to silent. And if you're listening on iPhone,
Yeah,
you're
that's
laughing,
kind of cool.
You're
Yeah,
like, oh
that's
yeah,
cool.
we got that slider a long time ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
unfortunately, Android phones do not.
Yep. You got it.
Yeah, that's one thing I have to say from going from the iPhone across to Android that I definitely missed straight away. That is
Yeah.
useful. Yeah,
Yep.
agree. But no, if you want a phone that, well, essentially over here would only work on 4G and costs a hell of a lot of money, I believe it's around about the $2,000 mark here for the Pro, which is basically, well, it's actually more expensive than the Samsung, which is craziness. Go ahead and
Yeah.
spend your mullah.
For a phone
Yeah,
that's
well-
not going to have as good of modems and not as good networking and
Yeah, we'll try to
Yeah.
find a good article that has stuff about this, but so far we haven't found a good one. So
No. Maybe we have to look in the Times of India or something. There'll probably be something over in, in that part of the world about it.
possible.
Maybe Austin can flick it,
Yeah.
an article through.
And then they also released a wearable, I think the OnePlus Watch. So that's the third thing that they released. And I
How
think
much is
India's
that? About
getting
10
the OnePlus
10,000
9
rupiah?
R. Hey, might be. Oh, no, that would be cheap, I think.
Oh, a million, I don't know. Whatever.
I think it's, what is that? I don't remember what the price is. We have to look. And again, there's not really many articles
There's
on
not
it
much
either. So
info.
it's just
Yeah.
not
Well, it didn't also help that they had their conference thing on at some ungodly hour over here. So, it wasn't on the top of the priority list to get up for that one. Maybe we'll just link to their website. They might well have a video of the conference or something. I don't know. We'll do a bit of investigation, but check out the notes, and I'm sure there'll be a bit more.
That's right.
And it's easy enough to find like reviews, but it's harder to find like coverage of the actual event. There's plenty of reviews online, and
reviews, there's heaps.
Most of the people that I've read of reviews are kind of disappointed with it. So.
Yeah,
that's right.
There hasn't been too much positivity, that's for sure. In fact, a lot of people are wondering what the hell OnePlus is doing and where they're going from here. If there's quite a few articles that start with that, but I can assure you they're not going very far in this country. So
Thomas spins it up quite nicely. Yeah, Thomas spins it up quite nicely. He says, if I get OnePlus, I'd rather get the latest Oppo Find X3 Pro, better specifications.
Yeah.
No, that's
and if you're in that part of the world, there's a lot of other phones that you could possibly get. Unfortunately, here in the U.S., we don't have Oppo Find X3, but
which is a shame. They're kind of nice phones.
Yeah, the Oppos are a good phone. Very good phone. That'd be quite a good alternative. Agree, Thomas?
Yeah.
But
you can get a lot of these phones
to be
online, but I would be very hesitant to get them because of the band support here. So,
yeah, I don't know what OnePlus is doing. They sort of had a reasonably good thing going, although in my mind, and I know that a few people, used to disagree with me, but don't so much now, they've always had issues, or as someone calls it, issues, with security and all sorts of bits and pieces. So, I don't know. If I want to be completely honest with all our listeners and my thoughts on it, I just wish they'd curl up and die. That's basically what I think of the whole company. It's just
Now, that's that's violent. Come on, Marco.
Yeah,
drink some of your beer. Drink some of your beer.
Overpriced rubbish, in my opinion. But anyway, let's move on.
Violence is not the answer, as all of the old adventure games used to say.
Oh, yes. Right. Anyway, it's OnePlus.
We're going to play that demo now from the Hable.
By the way, I don't know if you guys have listened to it, but you'll notice that I put a very upbeat introduction. And
yes, I did notice that.
Yes. It's firing us up, ready for Hable. Yeah.
So we're going to play that, and then we're going to come back and do web apps. So stay tuned. And stay tuned. And it'll be a couple seconds for us to get everybody muted and get that thing up and mute. And let's do a screen share. Share screen. All right, here we go. I want to welcome Nick. I also want to welcome Lilia, and I want to welcome Freck. And so hello, Nick. If you could maybe start, we'll just go down the list. I don't know that it matters, but if someone else wants to start, that's fine too. Just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, of course. So my name is Nick. I'm 22 years old, and I work at startup Hable, with which we make a Braille keyboard for blind and visually impaired people. Besides that, I'm studying at the University of Eindhoven. I'm almost finished with my master's in innovation management.
Excellent. Well, we're very glad that you're here. Lilia, you want to go next?
So my name is Lilia Varnakova. I'm originally from Ukraine and moved to the Netherlands studying here, and now working for Hable, actually doing my internship in here as in a role of the business developer and the partnership coordinator together with Nick and Freek. Yeah, and I'm 19, also studying international business.
Excellent. Glad that you're here. And Freek, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. So hi, my name is Freek van Elsnes. I'm the co-founder of Hable. In my youth, I grew up in a very social background, I always like to say. So both my parents worked in healthcare, and my little sister has a disability. So I've always been interested in working in this area. And besides that, I really like tech. I studied applied mathematics, industrial engineering, and later operations management and logistics. So I've always had these two interests of tech and people. So 2.5 years back, I, together with my co-founder, started Hable really because of that passion. And right now I'm mainly responsible for customer interactions. So we at Hable, we like to talk to a lot of people. That's what we love to do. And I kind of lead that part of the company. And I'm also very excited to be in this call today to talk to you about it.
Very good. I'm glad that you guys are all here. And Lilia and Nick, I guess you guys better be good. We have a co-founder here.
So are you like the boss, are you, Freek? You're the boss of these two. You have to keep them in line, do you?
Oh, they're it's really hard with them all the time. But yeah,
I'm sure it would be. It must be really difficult, yeah.
They don't know, but it's just kind of an evaluation today.
That's their evaluation.
Oh, right. So in other words, if they don't do very well today, you might fire them. Excellent. That's good.
Keep that in the back of your mind, everyone. It's
Okay, well, if you want to tell us, it doesn't matter. I mean, we'll just throw these questions. Whoever wants to answer is fine. If you guys want to tell us what is Hable, I guess let's just start with what is it?
We are a Dutch company working on assistive technology, and our first product that we've been working on is the Hable One. It's a Braille controller for your smartphone. So it's around the size of the old iPhone 6. And the general idea of it is that we want to make using your smartphone with a visual impairment really easy. We know there are all these solutions out there, and the phone itself, of course, has really great things with voiceover and talkback. But we believe it can be much easier, and that's why we developed the Hable One. So it's a device with 8 buttons that works with Braille, but it also allows you to control your voiceover or talkback. And essentially, the goal is that in every situation, you can always have it with you and easily operate your phone. That is the general idea of what we are doing.
And what gave you guys the idea to start this?
It's a nice story that Freek once told me before, and that's actually what got me inspired to get into the company, is that the other co-founder, Ayushman, his grandfather was blind, and Ayushman lived together with him. And eventually Ayushman moved from India to the Netherlands for his master program. But he wanted to stay in contact with his grandfather by means of a smartphone. What they encountered was that it's very hard to use the smartphone. It's not intuitive and also very hard to learn. So that's why they had to come up with an idea. And yeah, let's say 2.5, 3 years later, we are here and we're making a Braille controller that makes smartphone accessible.
What does this Braille controller do? I guess what can you do with it?
Yeah, I can kind of give an idea behind it. So I'll kind of describe what the device is. So imagine your the iPhone 6. It's around that size, and then you hold it horizontally and you wrap your fingers around it. So it's kind of like a Braille back on your phone. So on the left you have your index finger, a middle finger, and a ring finger on button 1, 2, and 3. The same goes on the right. So there your index finger and middle finger and ring finger are 4, 5, and 6. These represent the Braille dots. So the 6 Braille dots. And then you have 2 complementary function keys. So on the left side of your left pointing finger is the function key 7, and on the right side it's 8. Now the 6 middle keys are just for typing Braille. So any letter, number, punctuation you can make with that. And the function keys are for backspace and space. So that's kind of the whole typing experience. Now, besides that, you can also operate your voiceover or talk with it. So what our customers do, they generally keep their phone in their pocket or they put it somewhere else, and they just hold the Hable One in their hands and they control the full phone. So the function keys are kind of the whole middle of our product. They really show how to work with the voiceover talkback. So if I hold key 7 and I press my 8 key once, it would go to a next item. And that's kind of the interaction we use throughout the device. So you can go to next item, next letter, to last item, first item. It's all a very similar interaction, which means you can really easily learn to use it. And especially if you already know Braille, it's out of the box. You connect it with Bluetooth to your phone, and in a few minutes you can type as if you never as ever before, and you're really fast with navigating in a few hours of practicing.
So this system allows you to also be able to easily scroll through your phone and to navigate around the phone, as well as obviously utilizing the Braille functions. Is that correct?
It really was originally just a keyboard because that's the initial problem we were solving. But we learned that we can really make a difference if we control the whole phone. So especially now, the controlling voice over talkback is what people really enjoy about the product, because it's that simple and easy.
What's also relating to the story that we told about the grandfather of Ayushman, it's the normal voiceover gestures are hard to learn and not intuitive. So, and with the operating of the smartphone via the Hable One controller, we try to make it as intuitive as possible with very simple gestures instead of all the different and difficult things.
So does it have a touchpad or is it all buttons?
It's 8 buttons, so it's all
Okay,
all
so it's
physical
all
keys.
physical buttons.
Yes, yes.
And then it charges through what, USB-C?
Yeah, so you have a USB-C cable with it, which we also use to update the software. So we understand that we're kind of a young company. There might still be some problems in software, so we can actually remotely update it with that as well.
Is there a manual on your website that people can look at, or where would they go to find documentation if they want to, read the manual?
Yeah, actually, I can answer that. Since I started working in this company only like 3 months ago, I needed to jumpstart my experience with the Hable and understand how to work with it. And at first, I didn't understand anything. And then Nick just told me, oh, there's a manual on the website. And I was very surprised because I didn't know it before. And actually, it describes every single thing you can do with it and also how to learn Braille on the Hable. And me as a person who never had experience with it before, I came to the office the first few times when I held it in my hands. It was actually super easy to just start typing. I could type my name within a few seconds because I learned the only letters for my name. So actually, there is a manual on the website, and there's like all the information is in there.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting part. So what we keep on saying is we want to make things easy, right? That's a very important thing of what we're doing. But I think that because we're saying that we really have to put our money where our mouth is. So what we've been working on lately is the Hable Academy, which is something that when people turn blind or partially sighted at a later age, we want them to be able to use their smartphone really fast. Right now, that's can be quite difficult. So we're actually developing an application to make it really easy to, again, learn to use your phone, which is the Hable Academy that we're working on right now.
Is every function that you can do on an Android or an iPhone, is that available to be done utilizing the keyboard, or does a person still have to physically touch their phone in order to do certain functions?
No, so that's a good question. You can actually use your entire phone. So we have all functions on the keyboard. There are some special things that we don't use yet because our software is completely custom. We don't use the standard software for Braille input devices. Instead, we completely made it ourselves because it gives us more control on how we want to do the combinations and that unique navigation we use. We can only do it if it's custom. So there might be a few really special things missing. But the good thing is that we really work together with the community. So if something's missing, they can just tell us and we actually upload it on the software.
So you guys write the software yourselves and then obviously utilize that software in order to make the functionality work for people. I think that's excellent because at least then I know for a fact that it's being A, updated regularly, and B, it's utilizing the latest offerings from Android as well, which a lot of these keyboards don't do.
Exactly, yeah, and especially since Android is becoming more popular, what we've been hearing. So yeah, we really want to do that.
So I'll piggyback off of Marco's questions there. On the Android or iOS, does that mean that you guys require some kind of an app to be installed, or how is that software distributed to the phones, or is it just connecting through Bluetooth and that's it?
Yeah, it's plug and play. So you connect with Bluetooth and it works automatically. Now, there's a possibility that in the future we would use an app with it, but that's really for people if they want to customize it themselves. So if you would prefer to have special shortcuts, in the future we can possibly make that happen. But for now, it's just plug and play.
And then the follow-on question to that then is, okay, on the Android side at least, there are some limitations in terms of what can be done with physical keyboards at this point with most physical keyboards. For instance, one of the issues that some people have are with scrolling on a regular Braille device, and another issue would be with activating certain menu items. Have you guys run into that, or figured out a way to solve that, or have you guys tested for that?
Because we work with a lot of Android users that are using our software, so we get a lot of emails on a weekly basis of people saying, "Hey, this is not working." But that's it depends where the issue lies. So, as you're saying, so let's say the phone recognizes us as a normal keyboard, so not as a Braille keyboard, but as a normal keyboard. So if there are issues that they're not solvable with a normal keyboard because of whatever handshake we're making with an Android phone, then it's not possible for us to solve it. But we've learned over the past few months that if you're kind of use a different way of interacting, you can solve a lot of the issues that are not solvable with current Braille devices.
Yep, so you guys are seen as just a regular normal keyboard, not a Braille keyboard.
Yes.
Is the keyboard therefore available around the world, or is it mainly available in Europe at the moment? How does that stand for our listeners?
Yeah, so at this point, we are working on the launch in the UK. So we launched in the Netherlands and Belgium, and we're working on our launch in the UK. But maybe you've heard already that right now the world supply chain is having some issues. So there are some things stuck. There's some Bluetooth modules. So we are also experiencing some issues there. So we hope to really quickly launch in the UK and the rest of Europe. But yeah, right now it's really hard to say when that will happen.
So I imagine those issues have probably been ongoing for quite a few months now, because I know that we've spoken to a few other vendors that have had similar problems sourcing parts and getting things shipped and all that sort of good stuff.
Yeah, it's been happening for a few months now. We were initially hoping to, in March, be active in multiple countries. And yeah, it's something that's really out of our hands right now, but we're working around it to fix it.
We get about 300 listeners just from the UK. What is for them? If they want to know monthly, if they want to be able to get the keyboard, when will they be able to get it? Or do you have a timeline for that? And what's the process to sign up? Is there a waiting list?
Yeah, so right now we are expecting to start in June. June this year, the products will be out there. And via our website, you can see how to sign up for a waiting list. We are even doing demos already before June, because we have a lot of demo units. But we cannot sell those, but people can try them out. So via our website, you can find how to contact us, and we can ship over demo units to people in the UK.
Have you guys heard of the Orbit Writer product?
Yes, certainly.
So what, I always like to ask, what distinguishes you from your competitors? There's that one, and I can think of some others, Arrivo, and what distinguishes you from these other ones?
So one thing that we didn't mention before yet, but I think that's it's very unique about our product, is that Frick already mentioned, it's the size of an iPhone 5. It's very small, it's very light, and therefore it's very easy to use on the go. It's very portable, and that distinguishes it, because you also don't need a surface to actually do the typing. You can just hold it in your hands and do the typing with the dots and the navigating. And that also distinguishes, especially from the Orbit Writer, because it is about the same size, about the same weight, but you need a surface. And for this one, you can use it in the train, public transport, the library, etc. Where you want to go, you can use it. And that's what makes it perfect, because we want that the technology, in this case then the smartphone, is accessible to all in the same way as that it is to all other people.
So let's make this clear to the listeners then. The reason that it can be used while you're on the move is because it's using the same or similar to like the screen away mode when you type in Braille on a phone. So the keys are actually tilted, I guess, away from you, so that you hold the keyboard facing outwards, and then you put your hands on each side and type that way with your index, middle, and ring finger, instead of typing as if it were a flat keyboard. Am I understanding right?
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a main thing. And adding is really that navigation part that we bring. So how you scroll through your phone and how you use it, especially for people that are a little less experienced, I think that makes a very big difference. But either way, I would always advise people to try to test both, and then really find out what works best for you.
What is the battery life on the keyboard?
That's also a nice thing to mention as well. It's 2 weeks if on a full charge. We are fully aware that it's very annoying when your device is empty when you actually want to use it. So 2 weeks should be fine, and you can always use it.
And how long does it take to charge a unit when it's completely dead?
It's around 3 hours. So it's 3 hours to recharge and 2 weeks of actively using.
And I assume you get some sort of signal when it's running flat?
Yeah, so you can request the battery life, like the percentage, and based on the number of vibrations you get back, you'll know in which bracket it is. There's haptic feedback in there, so also for certain long presses, like going to the home screen, you would long press the H, kind of shortcuts in there, and you would get haptic feedback as well that you're going there.
That's really handy, because I think a lot of people definitely want that haptic feedback for navigating around their operating
I was actually
system.
just about to ask that, funnily enough, if it has any sort of haptic feedback, but you've answered it. So that's it. I think a lot of keyboards, and that would be a definite distinction between, many keyboards that I know of, because they certainly don't have that, and I think that's excellent.
What is the pricing on this item? So I think you can share probably what it is today, but any idea of what it might be in the UK, or we have some people from Belgium and Netherlands as well. But
so what we're looking at right now is that in the UK it's £240 per product, and in Netherlands, Belgium, it's €250. So that's the price point we're looking at right now.
Do you have any future upgrade plans for, if a user buys this product today? This is what happens with a lot of tech companies. They release something a year from now, and then what you just bought essentially becomes useless. So, like, what happens to the user when you decide to upgrade the product? Or is there any thought given to maybe some lower pricing for a newer unit? Or is there, how do we know this product's going to be around for a year or two?
I think it's a very good question, because what we've also learned over the last years is a lot of organizations and customers we talk to, they said it's really cool that you're doing something new, but there have been a lot of startups in this domain that didn't really pull through, right? They brought out a product, and then after 1 year, it ended up on everyone's shelves, and because there were no updates. Now, it's impossible for me to guarantee that we will be here the next 10 years. We're an early company, but what we're doing is we partnered up with a development company that is like almost the highest quality you can get in the Netherlands. So that means that our product's lifetime will be, we hope, 3 to 5 years. So we definitely want the product, to last for a long time. And the software updates that we can do remotely is really there because we want to update it continuously. Especially at the start, because we expect there will always be some things not working or requests from customers, so we can build that in.
So how does one go about updating it? Do they connect it to a computer?
Yes, for now it's connected to the computer with the USB-C cable, and then a single click on our web app. But again, this is also nice. We can actually develop it even after you've bought it, that we can even do it via Bluetooth or via an application in the future.
Can you use it with a computer? So if I want to use this keyboard to type on my computer when it's connected to USB-C or Bluetooth, or is this just phone only?
So you can type on any device with it if you connect it with Bluetooth. There's a Bluetooth connection. The navigating part, because we make custom software, it only works for the devices that we've custom built that for. So right now that's only on phones, iPads.
But I could literally connect this up to the computer and start brailing away.
Yes, you could.
And I guess the other thing that I had in my mind that I was just thinking about is how are things going in terms of where you guys are based? So obviously, you're in a part of Europe where this sort of technology is probably relatively new. Has it been a smooth ride, or, have you encountered some initial difficulties as things have gone along?
Well, we've had enough difficulties, I think. The thing is, we're doing something, as you're saying, a little new. So the kind of the typing Braille towards you, some people really like it, and for some it's really a challenge. So that's definitely led to some friction from time to time from our customers.
Well, I'm from Portugal originally, so I understand how it all works in the sense of like some people from sort of our part of the world are very excited about these things, and then other people are very I guess they don't really regard blind or disabled people or visually impaired people as equals, if you get my drift. So it's a little bit difficult to get through.
But I think it's the great challenge we have, I think. So of course, we're going to always have a lot of friction, especially when you're introducing something new. But I think for us, if we eventually manage to make something that's so easy to understand, and so easy to kind of adopt, I mean, that's our goal, right? If we can convince everyone like, hey, you can literally learn it within an hour, then we should be able to fix that.
I think it's pretty amazing. And I know that Nimer and I have had many a conversation about this in private, that you are able to produce a keyboard for 250 euros or pounds, when you buy an equivalent keyboard for 3,000 or 4,000 euros or pounds. How do you do it?
The main thing how we make it happen is because we only focus for us is essential. So we only are input device. So the output is still audio for the user. Now, if we just talk in terms of production, like the most expensive things about Braille devices are the reading lines. That's like an expensive technology. And because we don't use that, we can produce it much cheaper. Even then, there are a lot of things that could increase the price, but it's really, I think, our belief as a company, we're quite idealistic. So we really want, like, accessibility for me also means that everyone should be able to get it or afford it. That's part of accessibility. So I hope that in the future we can even drive the price lower so that literally everyone that wants it or can use it could get it. I think that's just a vision that we as a company have.
Have you guys considered adding some kind of a joystick to the device to make navigation easier, so you're not having to hold down certain dots and press other dots? Something like a joystick that can go up, down, left, and right?
With the current kind of design, because you're pressing towards you, it's a little hard to put it in unless it's at kind of the place of your thumbs. It's definitely, so these things are things we continuously kind of want to consider. So perhaps we have an ambition to make the Hable 2 and the Hable 3 in the future. So perhaps these things will come back there. But for now, it didn't really fit in yet with the current design.
And then do you guys have any plans on creating a different orientation for the Braille keyboard? So right now you have it sort of facing away, but some users will say, no, I absolutely want something that I can put flat on a table and type with. Is that something maybe that you might consider down the road?
Yeah, a lot of people have actually asked for this, where they kind of want to have two modes. Because actually, if you would put our keyboard down, you could almost see it as a kind of the original Perkins Braillers. So if you could switch software modes, for example, that could actually work. And it's definitely something we are considering to build in. But it would only be over like in a year or something. But it's definitely something we could do in the future, because I think it would benefit for a lot of people.
Now, the demo units, are they able to go out to the US yet, and how long are you able to keep them?
It all depends kind of on our we're right now working on the production of the demo units, and again the supply chain, it's a little tricky, but so there's already a waiting list. But what we're doing right now is that people will have it for 2 weeks, so you can test it for free for 2 weeks, and then you have to send it back so we can send it to a new person.
I was going to ask if you have any additional anything else that you want to talk about for our users to know, or anything that we haven't touched on so far. We definitely are mindful of your time and appreciate you guys coming on.
Yeah, I think so. For us, what is like, if for people listening to this podcast, what we just love to hear, like we like to talk with everyone. I think that's what for Hable is really important. We want to talk with everyone, regardless of if you've used the device. So what we would love is if you're open to talking with us, we want to talk about how you currently use your smartphone. That's the thing that we want to talk about with everyone, because for us, it's really, I myself, I'm not visually impaired nor blind, so I don't know what we should make. I don't know where the challenges are. I'm not aware of that. But by talking to a lot of people that have challenges or know things that they're currently facing, I mean, that's for us is so important. So for us, the only thing I would like to ask is if you have some time, please reach out to us, because I would love to talk with you.
All right. Well, BTG, let me tell you what, the BTG crew, we love talking to people, and we ask for that request and people do reach out. So community, if you're listening, definitely reach out to them. Seems like they want to hear from you. How do they reach you?
Yes. So they can, I think the best way is just email us, which is support@imhable.com. So, and then Hable's Hable. That's the best way to reach out to us.
We'll be sure to put that in our show notes for users to be able to get that email.
Do you have a sort of roadmap of what's happening over the next few months, just to, I guess, let our listeners know what's sort of coming up?
Yeah, again, it really is dependent on how the supply chain works out for it. It's just a very important factor. But for us, this year is all about kind of slowly opening or making the products available in new countries. So the UK is our initial focus. But if everything goes well and if our users are satisfied, we want to slowly move to more countries. It's hard for me. I cannot really yet say which ones they are, because it depends on the talks we have right now with multiple distributors. But we're hoping to open in new countries.
We want to thank you guys for coming on and joining us, and just want you guys to know that it's been a pleasure connecting with you, and you guys are welcome to come on at any time if you have any updates or launch new countries or anything like that. And if you guys are, if you guys do want us to test it out too, or provide additional feedback, let us know, and we're happy to do that, or we can work that out. If there's anything else that you want us to know, definitely reach out to us as well. We're happy to hear from you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us, and we'll definitely stay in touch. I mean, probably discuss after, but I think we can send you a unit over as well. That should be possible.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Well, this has been a demo with individuals with Hable, and I want to thank everyone for listening. All right. Well, that was excellent. A good demo there.
Interesting.
I missed that one now.
Yeah, not a bad little product. It'll be interesting to see how it sort of stacks up with a couple of the competitors. I think I will probably be getting one. I think it's fairly reasonably priced. I'd like to try it to at least see what it's like.
Yeah, we'll certainly demo it. And certainly either one of us will buy it or get a demo of it. So we'll certainly demo it on the podcast. I can't say that I'm hugely interested. Just because it doesn't seem like it's necessarily much different than the current iterations of Braille screen input.
Yeah.
And other than the fact that you're typing on a physical keyboard, which is one more device to carry around, one more device to charge.
And we did also bring it up on the podcast as well, Nim, that I think a lot of users are going to be sort of a little bit, how you say, not happy that it's only got away mode in terms of the Brailing side of it, rather than desktop or tabletop, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, even Braille screen input on both platforms has more than that. Like,
yeah, so it's away mode. There's no joystick, and so moving around the screen, it certainly has commands for doing that. But to me, it seems like it would be a lot easier with a joystick.
Yeah.
Well, you are having to learn a whole set of commands, which is fine. I mean, like any sort of software that you use, and we'll certainly demonstrate that very shortly, especially with web apps. You do have to learn a whole stack of commands, but it would be easier if you could just...
For web navigation, though, if it had the same sort of, H for heading or B for button or, if you could do that, I don't know if it would be worth the... however many several $100s for me, but that that would be a little helpful. I don't.
I think they're only charging. I think that you said it was $250. So essentially, it'll probably equate to about the same American dollars or fairly similar. So I think what's that, around about $400 odd Australian? It's not a bad little buy. Look, if we can get a demo copy, we'll definitely try it out and see. And I would probably buy one just for the hell of it, just to see what it's like.
One more thing. Here's my thought on the pricing. So we have to think it's a specialized device. It's specialized for the blind.
Yeah.
But how much does a Bluetooth keyboard cost?
Yeah, that's a...
You can go out and get a Bluetooth keyboard for $10 or $20.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or a really nice folding one for a little more than that.
Really nice folding one for $50, let's say.
Yeah.
Here we have a keyboard that's costing 5 times that amount. Now the Orbit writer is actually $100, $99. So it's just something to think about. I'm not saying it's worth it or not worth it, and some people will definitely find it worth it. And actually, if you like typing in screen away mode, that's a very compelling thing to think about while you're on a train, or things that he did mention. Something very compelling to think about if you like a physical keyboard. If you're comfortable or are willing to get comfortable with typing on a touchscreen, though, I would probably pass. But I want to thank the people
to make
at
it more
Hable.
I think before we thank them, I think and we did make the point on the interview as well, that I think definitely they need to think about adding tabletop support. And I think you made the point as well, Nimer, if they added a joystick where you could easily navigate around, and they added tabletop support and brought the price down to about $250, I think it'd be more compelling for especially a lot of people. I think a lot of people are going to have issue with that. So
yeah, but I do want to thank Hable for definitely coming on, and I'm very open to what the product will offer, and we'll definitely give it a fair review if we were to get a demo unit, or if one of us were to buy it, we'd certainly review it and give it a fair shot. Yeah. I think it's great for some people, and I think that other people will find it just another device to carry around. So it just depends on who you are.
I am looking at their FAQ page, and they do have a sale until June 30th. It says it retails for €249, and if you pre-order now, you get it for $199.
Yeah, but this is in Europe, and so as far as I know, you can't get it in the U.S. It's not available in the U.S. as of yet, and we'll see. We'll see what it's priced at here.
I guess the only way around that is if you've got a friend in Europe that lives in either any of those countries that it's listed in, get them to order it and then get it shipped to you.
See, by the time you do that,
you've already
paid for shipping.
It's going to cost you quite a lot.
It's going to cost you more. So
so it is a lot of fudging around
for our European listeners, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's where it's going to be of interest. Although at this point in time, I think, as he mentioned, it's only available in a few countries. So I think it'll sort of be watch this space, see if it becomes available in the UK first of all, because they're talking about releasing it there, and then we'll see where it goes from there. So
if you are in the Netherlands, I think you can get a demo there, and it is available there. And if we were able to get a demo, as I said, we will review it and let you know our thoughts on that. So
definitely. But thanks
agree
to
with Nimer, though, I
Freck,
think
I think it
we
was, and thanks to what was the other gentleman's name? I'm sorry,
and
Lilia
I don't
and
remember the other girl, the other
I'm
guy's
sorry,
name. Deke,
sorry,
Deke, something like that. Deke,
something
or
like that.
Beak?
Yeah, and thanks to those, Nick.
I'm very.
Careful
But thanks
there.
to the guys there from Hable for coming on, and we do appreciate it. We're not. Nimmer's having a good chuckle there. Very good, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't me for a change. Yeah, very good.
Oh my god.
Yeah, dear. Anyway.
I was thinking about a bird beak or something.
Yeah. No, I was thinking of Deke,
I'm
but
bad
it was
with
something
names.
different. Anyway, very good.
Yeah, I was thinking of that too.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it's time for, I think, what a lot of people came here for, although some of you left. Oh, too bad. You missed out.
Web apps. Yeah,
Web apps.
actually one of my favorite things, which is a very, in my mind and your mind, I know Nimer and the other guys as well, misconstrued
Absolutely.
side of things. But I'm sure
Yes.
you'll have more to say about that, Nim.
Yes. So just a quick summary. Why should you consider using web apps? Well, frankly, if what you're using works, don't change it. If what you're using is making you happy and it's the way that you're used to and you don't have to change it for your job and it's great and it's working for you, don't bother changing it. If you're wanting to try something new, if your job is requiring it, if you're finding that what you're using is giving you frustration, because that's what I hear a lot. People who use Outlook say, Outlook sucks. It's getting worse. I'm having this problem, having that problem. Thunderbird's reading out too many things, blah, blah, blah. Okay, time to try something new. If you're in that bandwagon, this demo is for you, because web apps give you an alternative way of accessing some of the same tools that you're used to, and they do have some advantages. Number one, no matter what computer that you're on, they're going to essentially work the same. Number two, no matter what screen reader you use, they're essentially going to work the same. Number three, if you are somebody who doesn't want to pay for Office apps and aren't getting them for free, then you can use them for free. Although you can get Thunderbird for free.
Can you
still,
get Office apps for free? And if so, how, Nimmer?
they called Google Docs. Very good. You like?
NVDA.org?
Yeah, there you go. We're not talking about any illegal ways of accessing content. All these things are available to anyone. So,
Very suspicious. Yes.
yeah. Okay, so we talked about why you should consider web apps. Now, what can web apps do? What are web apps? Where are they available? Well, to think about what web apps are, think about the sites that you normally use. Things like Twitter, things like Facebook, things like Gmail, things like Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, Office 365, Spotify, YouTube Music. All these are forms of web apps. Now, a lot of people will say, oh God, these sites suck. Facebook is so cluttered. Oh, it just is terrible to use. Oh, there's just too many links. Oh, Gmail's just not accessible, and it takes so much tabbing around, and I have to use the basic HTML, and sometimes the basic HTML button disappears, and it's not available, and then you have to use tab all the time. And by the way, I hate the tab key, so we're not going to be doing very much tabbing here.
Oh, thank goodness.
And no, you don't have to do those things. You don't have to use m.facebook.com to access mobile. You don't have to use gmail.com in basic HTML mode. Okay, how do you do that? Well, you access the standard mode and it becomes a web app. And what happens is these web apps tend to have their own keyboard shortcuts that make things very accessible and easy to use. Some of you are thinking, oh God, I have to remember a whole new set of keyboard shortcuts. Yeah, pretty much. There is that. But a lot of the keyboard shortcuts are fairly standardized across different apps, web apps. As you'll see, some of the same keyboard shortcuts that I show you in Gmail will also work in Facebook, will also work in Twitter, will also work in various web apps. Not all of them. There are definitely others that will not. But we'll talk about some standard ones that might, and we'll talk about generally how you go about figuring out what the keyboard shortcuts might be. The next thing that you need to know is some web apps have accessibility modes, or by default are less accessible, and you have to make them accessible. So how do you do that? Now, that depends on the web app. So if you're using Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, you have to hit Control-Alt-Z, Z like zebra. You hit that keyboard shortcut, and it will turn on accessibility. Without that, Google Docs is very much inaccessible, and I don't recommend using it, and it's a piece of garbage. And if you've ever tried to use Google Docs without it, I feel very bad for you, and I probably know exactly why you thought it wasn't accessible. Because you need to have that accessibility mode turned on. If you've ever tried Gmail, the standard mode, and you have not enabled keyboard shortcuts, again, you've got a very painful interface. I have no idea what you're doing. I'm not surprised why you're using Outlook. So you do have to enable keyboard shortcuts. Unfortunately, some web apps don't have these enabled by default. I really wish Gmail had keyboard shortcuts enabled by default, or gave you a pop-up that asked you to enable them when you first set up a Gmail account. It doesn't do that. I don't like that, but such is life. Google Docs will try to detect if you have a screen reader and will alert you that you can enable accessibility with Control-Alt-Z, but if you miss that announcement or are like me and you hate all the jabbering and you hit Control to shut it up, then you miss that announcement and then you don't know what to do. So that's why we're here to help. All right. So I'm going to demonstrate the Gmail. We're going to start out with Gmail today. I'll tell you a little bit about how to get that to be accessible. And I'm going to use NVDA. But the thing with web apps is, as I said, if you can do it with one screen reader, you can do it with all screen readers. Why do I say that? Because if you're used to the web app commands that are being used, and you learn those web app commands, the way that you use them is with JAWS, you turn off the virtual cursor, or you enable the feature to have application commands passed along to the to the web app. With NVDA, you turn off browse mode. With narrator, you turn off scan mode, or it should be off by default. With voiceover, you turn off quick nav. And
with JAWS, of course, you use insert Z.
Yep. So that's the virtual cursor. Turn off the virtual cursor. So once you do that, then you're going to be using the web app keyboard shortcuts, and these web apps will work the same. No matter what screen reader you're using, there'll maybe a slight difference between the browsers used or what verbalizations are made between different screen readers, but there shouldn't be that much of a difference. So today we're going to use NVDA to demonstrate Gmail, but we're going to probably alternate screen readers. So next time we do a web app, we're going to use JAWS, and we might even use narrator and so on. All right. So let's open up Gmail.
So just before you do that, sorry, Nim, I'm just going to quickly reiterate, and I was just chatting briefly to Nim offline whilst the interview was on. I've just had a bit of a play around with Gmail using, obviously, the cursor mode turned off and playing around with the shortcuts. And it is completely accessible and works very, very nicely. So if you're sick of Microsoft Office like I am, and actually I'm going to do a demonstration on an upcoming show of LibreOffice, which is an alternative that works very well, because I'm just about to give the old Microsoft the kish, as we like to say. So if you're sick of Microsoft like I'm starting to get very sick of, I was actually doing a document the other day in Publisher, and I just about finished it, and then the bloody thing closed down. So if you're over that, then listen to this demo. Very well worthwhile.
By the way, if you like Office, you might want to check out the Outlook on the web, which actually works pretty similarly to the interface on the PC side and has many of the same keyboard shortcuts.
But definitely
that will allow
also
you to
check
use it
out
on any computer.
LibreOffice because it's
Yes.
not really talked about very much, and I've only just started playing with it over the last week, and I know myself and a fellow good friend of mine, Mark Muscat, were playing around with it last week, and it's actually very good.
LibreOffice is good.
Yeah.
It works well with NVDA. And
It works well with JAWS NVDA.
pretty well
It's
with
excellent
JAWS, so-
alternative. But we will demonstrate that. I'll definitely run through that in an upcoming episode.
That's right. All right, so I'm going to share my audio, and I will access Gmail, and I'll demonstrate how to enable keyboard shortcuts, and then we're going to go through my inbox, and I've got a ton of emails because in my bundles, and bundles are labels. Labels are like things in Gmail to help you sort emails. I have a forums one, and in my forums, that's where all my mailing list traffic goes. And so I've got a few emails in that I haven't managed to clear out. So we're going to go through some of that. We'll talk about some of the various commands that you can use, and we'll demonstrate actually how to read an email, how to respond to an email, and you can hear exactly what it sounds like, and you can figure out, can this actually be more efficient or less efficient, or, make the decision for yourself. So let's share the audio. Share screen. Entire screen. Share audio. By the way, if you have any questions, please leave them in the chat, and I will do my best to answer them probably at the end of this this demo. All right, so we should have audio now. I'll slow down NVDA, shall I?
Rate boost off.
There we go.
Rate 30.
And I don't know, some people probably don't like eSpeak, so
Select synthesizer dialog. Synthesize.
let's use Windows One Core.
Acapella. Eat Microsoft Windows One Core voices.
There we go. Let's use this.
StreamYard desktop content shared Google Chrome Canary. StreamYard document. Button mute micro.
And I like the female better of the Microsoft voices. So
NVDA.
we'll change that to the female.
Voice. Combo box Microsoft David Collab.
Microsoft Zira.
There we go. Let's use
StreamYard Desk.
this lady. All right, so hopefully that voice is clear. If you don't like these voices, you can use eSpeak, or you can purchase Eloquence or Acapella, but we can talk about voices another time. Anyway, I'm going to go to Gmail.
BTG contact inbox Nimer Jaber 1 at
Can somebody make sure that audio is coming through? Somebody tell me, is audio coming through?
Yep.
All right, good. So the first thing when you first set up a Gmail account, you're going to want to go into the Gmail settings. Now, the best way, if I know exactly what I'm looking for, I'm going to go to the top of the web page,
button basic HTML view.
and I'm going to do a find.
Find dialog. Type the
So that command, at least for NVDA, is Control Insert and the F key. You can use that command for JAWS, or just use Control F and JAWS to do a find, and just type settings. Settings. I'm going to hit enter.
in clickable banner landmark button settings.
All right. I'm going to go into settings,
Blank. Button close. Blank. Button see all settings.
and I'm going to hit See All Settings, and I just hit down arrow to get there. So you could also hit Tab and go to See All Settings.
General tab.
Now, again, I'm going to use a find, because you can tab through all these various
Label
settings.
account
So
filter forward add chat advanced
I'm just
offline
tabbing through,
themes keyboard
tab, tab. Okay, I don't want to tab all the way through, so I'm just going to do a find, and I'm going to find keyboard shortcuts.
find dial
Going to hit enter.
keyboard shortcuts.
Very good. So now,
Link learn more about radio button not checked keyboard shortcuts off.
so by default, these are off, and you want to change the radio button to on.
Keyboard radio button checked keyboard shortcuts on.
So you can hit down arrow until you get to on, or you can use your screen reader navigation by radio button, or hit tab, whichever way. Set this to on, and then towards the bottom, there's going to be a save button. So again, you can do a find.
Find dial. Navigation landmark button unavailable save
I didn't actually change anything, so I can't save. But if you did change something, you would hit that save button and hit enter.
cancel blank.
A little bit cumbersome. You shouldn't
Main
have
landmark.
to, but you do. So there we go. But once you've done that, you're good to go. Then you want to make sure that you are in focus mode in NVDA, insert space, or if it doesn't automatically do it, and that's where it makes that clicking typing noise. You can change that so it actually says focus mode, or in JAWS, it will it will also play a noise, and you can just use insert Z, and it'll say virtual PC cursor off, and then you're good to go. So let's go to my forums.
Forum.
Bundle.
Blank.
And there's keyboard commands. Actually, let's figure out how to check what keyboard commands can I use. In order to do that, you're going to just hit the question mark. So shift and the slash, question mark.
Alert: the following keyboard shortcuts are currently enabled.
And
Disable,
now if I
disable.
want to read
Keyboard.
if I want to read these, I'm going to get into browse mode.
Compose and chat.
And that way I can actually read these
Shift
keyboard
plus
shortcuts.
ESC.
You can also just Google Gmail keyboard shortcuts as well.
Focus main window. ESC. Focus latest chat or compose.
By ESC, it's saying escape.
Control plus dot. Advance to next chat or compose. Control plus. Advance to previous chat or blank. Control plus enter. Send. Blank. Control plus shift plus C. Add CC recipients. Control plus shift plus B. Add BCC recipients.
So it's saying the keyboard shortcut, and it's saying the BCC.
Row 10 column
and
1
it's a table
control
as well,
plus
so I
shift
can
plus
use my
B.
table commands, Alt Control, left, right, up and down arrow keys to go through these tables. And
row 11 control plus shift plus F. Compose and chat Google Workspace side panel column 2 access custom from. Row 12 discard draft. Row 13. Row 14 insert a link.
so let's see, what is the command to insert a link?
Column 1 control plus K. New
Control
notification.
K to insert a link. Okay, so these are the keyboard commands that are available, and I'm not going to go through all of them, otherwise we'd be here a while. But that's how you access keyboard commands. Shift and the question mark. A lot of the times these are very similar across apps. This is how you would go about doing that.
Blank.
So let's first start by composing an email. So how do I compose an email? Again, make sure I'm in focus mode. I'm going to hit the letter C, and we're going to write Marco an email.
Compose. New message dialog. Marco Curalejo Marco.
And I just typed MA, and it popped up his email, and I'm going to hit enter.
Compose. Draft saved dialog. New message region. From Nimer Jaber. Subject edit subject
And I just
blank.
hit tab, and now I'm in the subject field. And I'm going to write, this is an email.
Best. Nimer Jaber. Blank.
And I'm in the body, and it started reading out the content because I have a signature in there, but I'm automatically placed at the top, so I don't have to do anything. I can just start typing. Usually it says body.
Subject.
Let's go shift tab, tab again.
Best. Nimer Jaber.
I'm not sure why it's not saying body. Usually it does. In any case, that's the body. And let's type in, this is a test email. How are you? And I can read it.
This is a test email. How are you?
And I can navigate by spelling
New
errors. I can add a link. I can change formatting. I can do whatever I like in this email. When I'm ready to send, some of you will know this keyboard shortcut from Thunderbird or Outlook. I can hit Control Enter, and it will send that email. Or I can just tab to the send button and hit enter on the send button as well. So either way is fine. I'm just going to hit Control Enter.
Sending. Cancel. Message sent.
There we go. Message sent. All right. So now, how do we get to... How do we navigate through emails? J and K. J will move down the email list. K will move up the email list in Gmail. And actually, this works the same in Facebook, in Twitter, and a number of these different apps. J will move forward or down. K will move backwards.
Sent.
In Gmail itself, you can also use up and down arrow keys.
Update.
But you can do some other things as well.
Inbox forum. Unread. Brian, Gene 3, chat getting NVDA not to announce subject.
So now I'm just using up and down arrow keys, as I said, or J and K, either one. And I'm going through my email list.
Unread. Brian. Jack. Gene 5, how to get NVDA speak a word, 8:15 p.m. on Sunday, March 28th.
And as you notice, it will start reading the contents of the email. At least it's a preview of the email. And you can change that so it does not have a preview, but it will automatically do a preview.
Unread. Tim, Chris 4, BTRFS.
So another way to read emails is exactly by what you want to hear. So if I hit right arrow.
Tim, Chris 4.
Now I'm in the from field. So everything in the email list is going to be reading by from. So if I hit up arrow.
Brian. Jack. Brian, Brian, Forms, unread, Sean, Mike B, Sujay Nimer, Barbara. Jean, Nimer, Mike, Sean.
So this is from. So if I hit right arrow again.
Forms NVAccess/NVDA and
now I'm in the subject. And this is going to read by subject. If I hit right arrow again.
Sunday, March 28th.
Now I'm reading by date. So it's going to, if I read up and down, it's just going to say the date.
Content in navigation.
All right. So it's kind of a quick way to access just the type of information that you want for an email without having to listen to the entire unread, the entire content of that. So let's say I want to open up this email from the chat list.
Chat getting NV.
I'm going to hit the enter key.
Conversation opened.
So now it says conversation opened, and I have 3 messages. Now, I can jump to the first message or any subsequent message in the email thread. And a thread is just a list of emails in a particular subject. And they're sorted from oldest to newest. So I'm always guaranteed to read them in the order that they were sent. How do I do that? I hit the letter N. And if I want to go backwards, I hit the letter P. So I'm going to hit the letter N.
List. Brian Sackrider55@gmail.com via groups.io 7:48 p.m. 39 minutes ago. Not starred reply to all more to chat show details. I have all of those options unchecked for the same reasons. I don't want to interrupted when I am reading a message just to be told how many new messages. Brian Vogel via groups.io 7:55 p.m.
And again,
31 minutes
jump
ago.
to the next
Not
message.
starred
if I want to actually dig deeper into the message, I can go turn browser mode on, and this is one of the few instances that you'll want to turn browser mode on. And then you can use, for example, if you have a newsletter with headings or whatever, you can navigate by those elements, or just read the email by character, word, line, paragraph, whatever. So now I want to delete the email. The shortcut to delete an email is the number sign. So shift and the number 3 is the pound sign or the number sign. You can change a lot of these keyboard shortcuts in Gmail, but that's the one that's default. So I'm going to hit the number sign.
Conversation moved to trash.
Just remove that conversation to the trash. Okay. So let's say I want to go to my I don't know. Let's go. I want to say to my sent folder, see what emails I've sent. I can do it one of 2 ways. Gmail has what they call like go commands. So go to inbox is G and the letter I. So if I hit G and then I, it goes to inbox, or G and then D, it goes to drafts. Inbox. If I don't know what the command is, I can just hit left arrow.
Navigation landmark. Inbox 64 unread. Snoozed
let's
link.
Go down.
Sent link. Spam 2 sent link visited.
So let's get sent mail, and I'm going to hit enter. And now I'm in my
main
sent
landmark.
folder.
Sent only to me. Unread. 2. Marco 2. This is an email. 8:25 p.m. This is a test email. How?
All right. So I don't know what Marco sent back, so I'm not going to read that email. But anyway, there we go. So then I'm in my sent email.
2. Marco, join me.
And yeah. So let's see. If I want to search my emails, because a lot of times you might want to search emails, you can hit the / key. And in this case, you can search by, whatever it is that you want to search for. There are advanced filters. Or if you just know what you want to search by, you can just type from : and the person's email address or their name. Or you can type has attachments : and then you can search for whatever the subject is or what's in that email or whatever it might be. Or you can just use the filter. So I'm just going to hit /
landmark, search landmark, in sent. Search mail edit.
And by default, because I'm in the sent folder or label, it says in : sent. It automatically put that into the search box. But I can change that to in trash. For example, if I want to find an old deleted message.
In blank. Advanced.
All right. So what are some other things you can do in Gmail? One of the cool things I like is you can actually select all messages or none or whatever. You can
unread.
Go through messages. So this is how I tend to go through messages. And if I want to find a message, I want to select it. I hit the letter X.
Selected. Unread. Brian ... Selected.
And if I want to action those 2 messages, I can archive them. the letter E or Y, there's two of them for some reason, will both archive that message. I can delete them, again, with that number sign or pound sign. One of my favorite features is the snooze feature, where if you hit the letter B, you can actually snooze emails.
Select unread. Quentin Christensen.
So let's
Chat
open up this
space,
email here
8:29 p.m.
from
Hi
Quentin.
Steve. I haven't looked
It's
at it
gone to the
myself.
chat NVDA list.
Convert list.
Let's say I want to snooze this email.
Snooze menu
I
sub
hit the
menu.
letter B. And let's go to snooze.
Tomorrow Monday 8 a.m. 1 of 4.
So I'm going to pick one of these
Next
times.
week Tuesday 8 a.m.
or I
2
can
of 4.
customize one.
Next weekend Saturday 8 a.m. 3 of 4.
Let's just do
tomorrow
tomorrow. That's
Monday,
fine. So I'm
8
going to hit
a.m.
tomorrow. I'm going to hit enter.
Chat chessbase nimerjaber1 at gmail.
And now that email is gone.
Unread. Brian.
It's gone. And it will not come back until tomorrow at 8 a.m. So that's a really cool feature. Or I could archive the emails if I might want to access it later, or delete it, or again, any of those other options. Now there are options, there are ways if you do a shift tab. So for example, if I open up this email,
list.
if I
Brian
do a shift
Vogel.
tab, you can very easily reach those or just navigate by
More
button.
reply, clickable show deep, clickable, more
You can
reply, click for,
hit all
remove
those-
inbox, clickable and new, print all, collapse, older button.
All those options that have
Newer,
keyboard shortcuts.
clickable more menu, labels menu, move to add to tab, snooze button.
So for example, there's a snooze button, but think about how many times I had to hit Shift B to go backwards by button just to hit that snooze button. So these keyboard shortcuts really help make your email tasks a lot more efficient. And because of threading and because of how powerful Gmail is, I spend very little time going through emails. Certainly a lot less time than I know a lot of people spend going through Outlook messages.
Snooze button.
Anyway,
Contact form.
I think that'll be it for now. I think we've gone through quite a bit of Gmail, and there's a lot more.
BTG.
But I wanted to demonstrate that bit on Gmail
StreamYard.
to say that it is accessible, that it can be very, very customizable in how you navigate and how you access your content, and very efficient. And a lot of people say, no, it can't be efficient. No, it can't be accessible. Well, it is.
Invite a guest.
Does it have a little bit of a learning curve? Yep, it does.
Compliment.
But I think it's definitely doable. So
Share. Stop sharing.
there we go.
I think the great thing about the actual web version, and I was just following along briefly at the beginning there, using it on JAWS, is that essentially, yeah, there is a learning curve. And what I would suggest to people that, and I actually did it myself, just to go back and refresh my memory with the commands, is maybe open up Notepad or one of those note taker type things, and actually copy all the commands, the shortcuts into there until you get used to them. Just save it as a file.
Oh, yeah.
Just make it a lot easier. And then you can just refer back to it. And once you learn the shortcuts, it's actually quite powerful. You can do just as much with that and more, actually. I really like the snooze feature. That's just convenient.
Yeah, that's
You know, if
nice.
you want to snooze a particular thread and you don't want to hear any more about it, you just kish it, get rid of it. Just things like that you can do quite easily.
Yeah, I use it for, let's say you send me an email, Marco, and I don't have the bandwidth, I don't have the energy, I don't have the time to deal with it right now. I'll just snooze it, come back to it later.
Later on.
And I can choose when I want it to come back. So I don't even think about it until it comes back in my inbox.
Yeah. And it's really
And that
good.
might be
It's
next
really
weekend.
handy.
Like I do that with emails that we get at BTG, because a lot of times I don't need to look at them until Sunday at 7
it's not
p.m.
essential for
Pacific
you to
time.
know about it straight away. You know.
Nope. So I snooze them until the time for the podcast when I actually need to read them.
Yep.
So things like that. You can, and there are a lot of things I didn't mention, like you can actually access the calendar at the bottom of your email, and there are shortcuts to get to that. You can add an email to a task. So if you get an email, something to do, then you can assign that as a task. All things that you can do in Outlook. I'm not saying you can't do them in Outlook, but a lot of people seem to think that web apps aren't accessible.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, exactly. But as you made the point very clear at the beginning, you do have to make sure that you've got that enabled. And I do wish that Gmail would, I completely agree, would make that a default if it recognizes the screen reader, same as Docs and the other ones do.
Yeah, the
It's
problem
kind
is
of
that it
annoying.
upsets a lot of sighted users who aren't used to the fact that keyboard commands actually would do something if you start pushing them. So,
yeah. Anyway, so that's an example of that, and I'm sure that as the weeks wind through, we go past Easter, we'll be doing more of those. And let us know what you thought of those by contacting us at contact@blindtechguys.com, and if you'd like to see a particular web app demonstrated and just talked about, feel free to email us or let us know by checking out our webpage, blindtechguys.com.
Ben the Gen Z is... Oh, okay, this is interesting. I'm thinking of making a podcast. And then the next question says, do you guys have any podcast name tips? Well, not knowing what your content is about.
Yeah, we need to know what the content's about.
Not knowing anything about you are, not knowing anything about your whatever, I can't begin to recommend one. How about the podcast?
Well, that's probably been taken. Now, give us an idea of what you want to talk about. I mean, we can't really recommend the name unless we know what genre of
maybe email us off
going into.
Privately, and maybe we'll help you with that.
I was wondering if we'd started the listener emails early or something there when you read that out.
No. I was just reading that from the...
Very good.
The comments. Anyway, I think maybe we'll save the Did You Know for next week.
Sure.
Yeah, we've kind of sort of wandered on for a bit, so we might save that one. So come back next week. We will be talking about... We will start our settings Did You Knows, and we'll work our way through all the settings.
Did You Knows, and
I
we'll
think
also
it's
do
definitely
another
worth
web
it,
app
though,
as well.
to go, to just introduce the whole idea of why these are good. And
and we'll do maybe we'll do docs next week. So if you want to know about docs and how accessible that is, then come back to that. And if you're interested in other topics, or if you'd like to see any of these done on mobile, then let us know. I think we're just trying to do web apps because a lot of people seem to think that this thing is not accessible or struggle with them or whatever else. So,
and once we've wandered through the web apps demonstrations, I'll do a demo on LibreOffice because that will take a while. We'll wander our way through all that can do, and the way that you can replace Office 365 if you want to. If you're like me and you're sick of paying $100 a year, which is absolute madness, and then you're doing something in Word or whatever and it decides to crash, well,
or give you like a compatibility views broken.
Yeah, I mean, Office, unfortunately, is just getting clunky.
Well, it's just getting painful to use, and the thing that I've always hated about Office and is exceedingly annoying is that it will always happen that you're in the middle of something exceedingly important and then it will die, which is just annoying.
Well,
that's like my most common tech support call at work is my Word broke and I have a project due an hour ago.
Well, at least if Word dies now,
if you're using Word, hit the save button. Now it is supposed to do an autosave.
Yeah, but don't rely on that.
Don't rely on it and just do a save. Now, if you really want to if you want to have an autosave, use Google Docs because
that'll save
as soon as you type in anything lost in Google Docs, and it creates
as soon as you type in a new character
or
doing something, it'll save automatically. That is an autosave that works. But I will say that at least Word now does offer the ability to bring the doc back, unlike Publisher, which just doesn't. Where you go into Outlook, and I had this issue for up until about last week, and then somehow it resolved itself. Where you'd have Outlook open for a few minutes, and then you try to send an email, and it wouldn't send. So you had to go into Task Manager, close it down, reopen it, and then it would work again. Really quite annoying.
Ben the Gen Z, he wants to do games, video games. Maybe we'll have to think on that. I don't know. How about the Gen Z gaming podcast? I don't know. We'll have a think on that. Maybe get back to you on that. If anybody has any ideas, put that in the comments, in the chat. Live accessible.
Yeah.
Man, I missed the party. Hey, all. Yeah, I was at least listening to your podcast, and
I listen to your podcast, but now I'm going to unsubscribe now because you've missed the party today. Sorry, you lost one. Bad luck.
She was having a live stream right during ours, or right before ours. And
very rude.
So I had that on playing right before we started.
In fact, we didn't breach copyright because we cut it off just before we went live. Otherwise, we might have been sued. Very good.
That's right.
Yes.
No, but if you guys are listening to this, definitely take a look at Live Accessible's YouTube channel. And she's doing some real good things. And
I've got to say there's a lot of blindness related sort of YouTube stuff, and there's a girl, and I can't think of her name, but she does a lot of reviews on TVs and accessibility for blind people. I should actually find out, and we might see if we can get her on the show one day. But there's a couple of you out there that are doing some really good stuff. There's also a couple of you that aren't. But there's a couple of you, like Live Accessible and this other person, that are doing some fantastic stuff and really knowledgeable. So take a look at it.
Live Accessible, maybe put your link in the chat, or I can add it in a little bit later, but maybe throw that in the chat. Definitely look out for Live Accessible's YouTube channel. Yes, you would have to go back and listen to the podcast. Yeah, that would be good. You got to go back.
You've got a bit of time, and you might fall asleep listening to us ramble on, so that's cool.
Marco, I like your setup. Very good. She likes your setup. Very good.
Oh, thank you. Well, I like my setup too. It costs a lot of money, so I should like it. If I don't like it, I'll be a bit, how you say, not happy.
Yeah, very good.
Well, you won't like it from next week on, and I should mention now that the next couple of episodes, folks, I may either be here or I'll be able to edit, but I may either be here or not, because I will be in Western Australia.
Oh.
Which I'm very much looking forward to. I know you were talking about flights before the show, Kurt, and we just want to get out of here for a few weeks, so we're off.
Going to be having fun with the kangaroos. Very good.
We're going to be having lots of fun in a place called Margaret River, which is an awesome place for wineries, and it'll be, let's say, a very happy few weeks. So, look, podcast always takes precedence, but if there is something planned for the Monday my time, then sadly I will be missing in action. So, but if I am here, I'll be sounding very Bluetoothy, so you'll enjoy that as well.
Yeah, I might have that same issue next week too. That's
all right.
What? Yeah. Where are you off to?
I'm not entirely sure yet, but I've got to go somewhere.
Am I going to have to do the podcast on my own? Am I going to have to be the sexy one next week? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. No, I think we sort of got to a point where, you kind of need to get away.
One, not just the gruff one, Nimer.
Yeah.
Not just the gruff one. Yeah, it might actually be the sexy one.
No, I think so. I think we've all got to a point where we need to just get away and...
Yes.
It's time to travel again, and it's been a long time. In fact, it's been a long time since we've been over there. It's been 2 years, so... And I know my partner's keen to catch up with their family, so it'll be good.
Very
good
nice.
To get away.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I definitely want to thank you guys for listening. Oh, actually, we need to do emails.
I was going to say, hold on a second. You don't get away that quickly.
Come on now.
Come on. Jeez, hello. What, is that how much respect you have for our listeners?
Yes, that's right.
No wonder they call you the gruff one.
Gary, he sent us an email.
Oh, yes.
Hey there, Gary.
And now, you're reading this as it's written, yeah? Very
yes. Hello to the Blind Guys crew. Can you do a tutorial on setting up and configuring Authy? That would be very helpful. All right.
Well, you're not allowed to brief.
That's right.
What is Authy? I'm not even sure what it is.
Well, that's why I responded.
It's like
an
Google
authenticator.
Authenticator.
I found that out later. I'm like, what the hell's Authy? Yeah, right.
So here's the deal. Like Authy allows, so there's different ways of doing authentication. We talked about some of them. Google Authenticator is good because it sends you a code, or you open it up and you get a code for whatever you want to use to sign in. The problem with it is if you lose your phone, then you no longer lost your codes. So kish. You have to figure out a different way of signing in, or you're just completely locked out.
That's the same with the Samsung one as well. They're all the same in that regard.
Yep.
I didn't even know Samsung had an authenticator. But
yeah, they've got one too, but it's pretty much the same situation.
Yeah.
If you lose your phone, you're done for.
So Authy is an authenticator that will remember your various authentications. So you sign into one account, and that one account will give you access. It'll remember all the codes that you've tied to it. My problem with it is if Authy gets hacked, then all of a sudden they have access to all your authentications with all these other services.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm a huge fan of what Authy does, but it is more convenient. Yeah, we can do a demo of that. We'll try to remember to do that as an app of the week, maybe next week. Although it's not very difficult. You just go, once you sign up with Authy, you just go to add, and then you scan the barcode. And that's essentially the same
like any
as,
of these. Yeah, I was going to say like any
as
other
Google
one.
Authenticator or anything else. The only difference is you're signed into an Authy account when you do that.
Now, I guess
recommend
if
you're going to use Authy that you stick with the 1Password or Bitwarden instead of Authy.
Yeah, I was going to say, wouldn't 1Password be better?
Well, it essentially does exactly the same thing.
LastPass, use one of these as authenticator, and the reason that you do that is because, in my mind at least, a password manager has to get security right. And you can set up multi-factor authentication on your password manager using a different method, like a YubiKey or something.
Yeah.
So your security of those accounts are a bit more locked down. And yes, it's true that all your accounts are, again, in one service. But that one service is a password manager that you've already entrusted with your passwords.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, why bother having a few different apps to do a few different things when you've already got, well, if you're like Nimer and I, and I think you do as well, Kurt.
Yep, I have Bitwarden.
Yeah, so if you've got Bitwarden and 1Password, why not just use that one service that offers, and especially with 1Password, you're already paying for it. Yeah. And you've got that service available. Why download another app that does essentially the same thing? Now, whether I trust that app or not, I don't actually know much about it, to be honest. It might be
I trust it enough.
reasonable.
I think it's fine. I think
why
it's
bother
fine,
having multiple
I'm already
apps?
trusting a password manager.
Yeah, exactly.
So why would I add another to the mix?
And also with 1Password, you can have it create passwords for you.
Yeah.
And you can set the length of them, etc.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to use that, that's definitely...
Yeah, you've already got that service there available, so you're just adding more chains to a
Anyway,
link that you don't
I
really
can
need,
definitely
but,
demo Authy. I have used Authy in the past. I just don't anymore.
Yeah.
Once the authenticators came into the password managers, I don't find the need to use Authy.
Yeah.
But
it might be
if
some
your
use
choice
to
is
people.
either Authy or Google Authenticator, I'd probably use Authy. Just because then you don't have the risk of losing your phone. So
Well, at least you've still got it
there's
if you do lose it. So yeah. And I'm sure there's other alternatives. Maybe we'll do a show, Nim, in an upcoming week and compare Authy with, I don't know, there must be other alternatives, I'm sure, out there. Maybe compare a couple of those and make a bit of a call on it.
Okay,
so thanks, Gary, for that email. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much for that.
Absolutely. We like to show ideas.
Yeah.
Dennis, he's found a different way to... Oh, Dennis, you're on the podcast. Never mind. I was going to say, he found a way to promote our podcast. We need to contact Jonathan Mosen.
Yeah.
Oh, do we?
Yeah. Anytime I've contacted Jonathan Mosen, I haven't had very much success. So if you'd like to contact Mr. Mosen for us, I'm very happy to turn that reins over to you.
Either.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I usually find promoting my podcast without Jonathan Mosen tends to work better. Oh, shit, did I say that?
I'm not bashing Jonathan Mosen. I know he's putting out blindness content and doing whatever he
usually
does.
Charges
so
for it, but very good.
All right, let's look at our form submissions. We did get a rating from someone who sent us a rating or a grade. And the reason I think it's a grade is because the only thing in this form submission is the letter B.
Oh.
So if you'd like to tell us why we've only earned a B, I strive for A.
That's better than A.
Why have we only earned a B? Please let us know. Or if it's meant to say something different, please let us know that too. But the only thing in this form, there's no email, there's nothing. There's just
there's
the letter
lots of
B.
words in this world, Nim, that start with the letter B, like
it could be
back.
It could be a contraction for butt.
Could be, yeah. It could be a contraction. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know. Yeah.
We've got another email submission, and this is from Miss Tragical.
The space bar.
No, this is from Miss Tragical. So this will be an interesting, fascinating read. What do you think of the Blind Tech Guys podcast? The podcast is good. Thanks so much. What do you think of the podcast host? I don't think of podcast hosts that much. Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. Anyway, I'm just too lazy to write email, so I'm writing messages in this nice little box. Beer Guy, I totally agree that we shouldn't have to rely on OCR. Oh, yes, we had a rant on that last week.
Oh, yep. Beer Guy.
I did have to cut that rant a little bit short on the official release because it went on for 20 minutes. But yeah, it was a good rant, that one. Yes.
So
that was one of your better ones.
Totally agree that we shouldn't have to rely on OCR and such technologies to use things. But I look at it from the enabling perspective. Look at digital audio workstations scenario. Half of the plugins aren't accessible, but people use them with OCR anyway and create amazing content. Now you can run behind these plugins companies and tell them to make things accessible, which will take so much time and resources. or let something like OCR do the job. I don't like using OCR as it's very inconvenient, but so is using white canes or writing in Braille or scanning things with your phone camera to identify things. Accessibility just hasn't reached that stage where it's seamless. And as far as lobbying, unlike USA, it's not legal at the place I come from. And that is not to say that you can't influence government, but a larger question is how many differently abled candidates do we see in government? How many even decide to stand or local or even national elections? If the common stats is that 1 in 5 individuals is disabled, I think that at least 1 in 50 individuals in Parliament should be differently abled or advocating for differently abled. Your APH or NFB is actually doing a more than what organizations in my country are doing. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't expect more. We must strive for more. That's the way development happens. So, don't be so harsh on APH and NFB as they might be relying on donations. And in that case, what they can do, especially in political space, is limited by the political interests of the financial donors, which is not ideal situation. But that's the way most organizations work. As they say, if you want something to happen, the fastest way is to do it yourself. So I think if differently abled people want change, they should be leading the way to that change. Obviously, politics is not the most ideal career path. I guess it's more difficult for differently abled. What do I know? I am just a guy typing out responses to fellow blind guys named Beer Guy and Pooch Guy running a podcast.
Hey, I resent this. Who am I, like third wheel guy?
I hope we're not going to go on to another 20-minute rant about this.
No.
Good.
No. I think I agree with most of your points. I do think that NFB and APH and all of them are ineffective. I don't know that I'm going to agree with your thing on that. But I definitely agree that blind people should use whatever tools are available to them. I still think the tools aren't perfect and we need better accessibility. But yeah, I'm not saying don't use OCR. I've never said don't use OCR. I just don't think we should be in a space to use OCR. I think that things should be more natively accessible.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's what we were generally getting to last week. We shouldn't just have to rely on using OCR to make things accessible. It's also it should be up to developers to do that from the get-go. But they should also have some clear guidelines as to how to do that are actually universally accepted all over the world, not just in small parts of it all.
One more thing, Miss Tragical, you said you wanted to be contacted by a Blind Tech Guys host. Here's what you didn't do, though. You didn't give us an email. So hint.
Miss Tragical's done this a few times.
Here's a hint. If you want us to contact you, we're delighted to do so, but you need to include your contact information.
Can I just also make a point that I just realized that Miss Tragical mentioned that they were a guy, but they're called Miss Tragical. So what's going on there? Like, is there a bit of a sausage
just like
issue?
A generic, just guy mean person, or
so it's a Miss MYS. So it's a different.
Right. Well, there you go. Maybe. Anyway, we won't go there. Very good. Yes.
I will. I'm happy to reach out to anyone who contacts us, but you have to include. Maybe I should make those form fields conditional. But anyway.
Well,
put a little star there.
Yeah, but then somebody will. I don't know. Yeah, not worth it. Anyway, please put your email address in if you want to be contacted. If you answer yes, that would be kind of useful. But if you don't put that in, I guess we'll just read them out.
Maybe if we can put it in conditional, if they check the box yes, you can't go on unless you put your email address.
Yeah, that would make sense. And is that it, Mr. Nim? Sorry, Dennis.
We have a lot of comments, and then I'll read through these, and then I will conclude the podcast with our donations bit and all that.
Just my little comment on Miss Tragical's email. I agree with Nimer. I don't think the NFB or ACB do a terribly great job. As for the NFB and donations, don't even get me started going down that
Yeah, they have a lot of
down that rabbit hole.
investments. I know.
They've got a lot of money. They developed the KNFB reader, neglected it for years on both platforms. They've got money. They did years ago.
I'm going to wrap up this discussion by saying one thing. Here's one thing. I'm not going to go on a rant, but here's one thing. Freedom Scientific, VFO, whatever, donates to NFB $100,000. NFB turns around and buys a bunch of copies of JAWS and, gives whatever, uses JAWS at all their centers or whatever else, probably pays $100,000 to VFO. VFO turns around and pays another $100,000 to NFB. Yeah, that tells you all you need to know about these entities, I think. But yeah, we'll leave it at that.
I would agree.
And by the way, I am apolitical, so if you think I'm against one organization, I'm not. I support some of the things NFB does. I support some of the things ACB does. I support some of the things AFB does.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to make this political. But
look, I think we need all of these organisations, and Australia's got the same issue with Blind Citizens Australia. They're very much of a similar mould of the NFB/ACB, and I do think we need a lot of these organisations. I understand that these organisations don't survive without cash, but there's also some interesting, like you put it, Nimer, there's a bit of I scratch your back, you scratch my back type of mentality going on.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Live Accessible. Let's go through these comments and then we'll wrap it up.
Live Accessible.
Live Accessible. We're live, and I think live is better. So anyway,
here's my comment on the whole organizations. We're all blind people. Why not all band together as one?
I'm no blind. What do you mean?
And work for the good of everybody.
Yeah, we've talked about this in many different scenarios, and unfortunately, it's just never going to happen.
Yeah,
no.
It's just as blind people, we like to be separate.
Democrats and Republicans can never agree on whether or not Coke is better, let alone anything else.
As blind people, we're a small entity. I agree with you, Dennis. We're a small entity, and for some reason, we just like to split everything apart. Like, take for example, podcasts, or I don't know, websites, or NFB, ACB, Blind Citizens Australia, New Zealand Blind Citizens. I mean, it's all split. So let's just continue down that path. It's never going to change. We can talk about this till the cows come home. But
Live Accessible says, I focus on a lot of beginner technology stuff, but I really enjoy hearing from you knowledgeable people. Well, we enjoy your presence, and we definitely... I definitely am glad that your content exists. So
absolutely. I think as I said before, there's a couple of really good podcasters out there. You're definitely one of them, and we really appreciate that you're out there. And feel free to, if you ever want to come on the show and you want to be a part of some of our demos or do a demo yourself, we'd love to have it on the on the podcast. That'd be awesome.
Thomas Chan, if those regular guys is not available next week, we will F them, and I will join you.
What? Are you sure that's Thomas writing and not someone else?
Yes, F, with a bunch of dots, them, and I will join you next week. Great, you're welcome to come on, Thomas.
Yeah, very excellent. Yeah, and we could even have the generator in the background. That'll be cool.
Live Accessible says, yes, Nimer is gruff, isn't he?
Poor Nimer. Just because he's in California and he's been locked down for about 6 years.
Hug?
Yeah, I'm gonna go cry. Yes, this is sad.
Just go and start banging your cane on the ceiling and see if you get any response.
Are authenticators the same as a password manager? No, authenticators will give you those codes. They're found in some password managers, but they're the ones that'll give you the 6-digit codes or different ways of authenticating.
You know, when you're trying to log into an account and it says, we can send it via SMS, which I always say, don't do that. Just don't do it that way. Yeah. And Authenticator just gets those
scan
codes.
a QR code, and they'll give you the 6-digit codes, and they're time-based and all that. So that's an authenticator.
And if you're lucky, sometimes actually with OnePassword. So I was going to say, I think most of the time with OnePassword, I've noticed it just seems to be fairly seamless and does it itself. You don't even have to muck about, and that's another quite cool feature.
Reese, I would recommend Strongbox over OnePass and Bitwarden. Better security, KeyPass compatible, and open source. I disagree strongly. very strongly because for the average user, they don't want to muck about trying to figure out where things are synced, and they
There's
don't
too
want
many
to be
issues
mucking
with the
about
syncing.
with different clients, and there are a lot of different clients out there. Plus, Strongbox is not one of the ones that has necessarily been audited and is not one of the big players in the password space. Not to say that a big player is always more secure, but you're pretty much guaranteed they've got pretty good teams behind what they're doing.
I think for security, you do want a big player, though, Nim. I mean, look, I'm very much a fan of open source software, but when I'm looking at security, I want to actually go with somebody that's
I mean, Bitwarden's open source.
Yeah, look at Bitwarden.
itself.
They're open source. That's why I picked them.
But they're
over
well
1Password,
known.
but yeah, they're
nothing really against Strongbox. I do know of them, but then certainly not like you don't.
I don't
really
know
hear them
them.
mentioned
This
often.
is the first time I've seen them.
I've heard of them.
But
before,
the
yeah.
fact that
Definitely
the fact that I've looked up other password managers and I
Yeah.
never see them on the top of recommended lists.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're using KeyPass as
that sounds like a Braille note app.
Nothing against KeyPass, nothing at all. But again, it's it's more.
You
work
can't
for
really
the user.
recommend something that we don't really know a huge amount about, and B, also like you said, Nim, it's not on the top of any list. I mean, I have seen it around, but it's definitely not.
But moreover, it's not
concerning.
convenient for the user. Like OnePassword and Bitwarden are easily synced between you. Pick up your iPhone, your iPad. You don't do any work. It's just automatically.
It's done in the background.
And if you don't like that way of security, you're a person who thinks that it should be different. Then you know who you are. But I think for the average user, who writes down things on their fridge and whatever else, OnePassword and Bitwarden are
you
far,
don't want to
far
be
better
mucking
option.
about with, in my opinion, anymore. For me, I certainly don't want to be opening multiple apps and mucking about with that sort of stuff. I just want
and
it done.
and Live Accessible definitely proves my point here. My password manager is Excel. LOL. Maybe I need to get one of these other password managers. Yes, you do. And if you need one, we'll happily share a family subscription of OnePassword with you. Yes.
Yeah.
We absolutely do.
Any of us, well, Nimer or I, or if you want to try Bitwarden, just Bitwarden's a freebie. It's very easy to.
Yes.
Very easy to get. I mean, and actually, with one password from memory, I think you trial it for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
that's right.
You can trial it for a couple of weeks, and believe me, once you've been using it for a couple of weeks, and you see how seamless it is, you'll end up paying for it. It's pretty good.
Live Accessible says y'all should do a stream with me in May, then y'all can promote your podcast with me. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Welcome on
yeah.
our podcast
to.
at any time, and you can promote yourself and whatever else. We're happy
We
to come
are
on
very
as
much
well.
for cross promotion. We've been trying to
Yes.
push this for a long time. We really love the idea of cross promotion. The only way that any podcast grows is to be a part, together with each other.
Yep. And we're all part of the
Help each
blindness
other out.
community, and we just all help each other out. So definitely,
Absolutely.
more than welcome to come on, and we'll happily come on. We'll just set up a time, and we're happy to do that. And if you don't
Well,
want
if they
Gruff Guy
run
on
their
your
podcast-
podcast, then I'm happy to step out of that. So
If they run their podcast just before ours, because they normally seem to broadcast on a Sunday, I think Live Accessible, correct me if I'm wrong,
we'll
then we
just
can
push
always
ours back.
push ours back an hour or something and make it work. That'd be kind of cool. So, and we could even do a cross promotion between us if you're interested. Run yours first, and then you can come across to our pod, and we'll just keep running. It'll be a bit of a long day, but it'll be a bit of
Could
fun.
even do a collaboration on a tutorial, perhaps, where like part 1 is on your podcast and we have part 2 over here, like a lot of the YouTube
whatever.
channels
that'd
do.
be cool.
We'll
good
work that
idea.
out.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Reese, I would definitely recommend looking into Password Manager. At the very least, Strongbox is free, and you can choose to back up to iCloud or leave on device. Yeah, the trouble with using a cloud is you're now trusting another provider with your passwords. So instead of trusting one provider with your passwords, OnePassword, Password Manager, who's actually known, is focused on this.
Relatively known.
Now we're trusting two. You're trusting
Right,
the
and one of
Password
them's
Manager
Apple.
and that it's not leaking whatever, and then now we're trusting Apple. Now Apple's iCloud is pretty secure, but I don't know. I don't like the idea of, again, too many holes in the pie.
Too many cooks in
the
too many cooks in the kitchen. Essentially, I don't know. I don't like that either. Yeah. Let's
see. What am I missing here?
But if if users want us to demonstrate this, what's it called? Strongbox. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we're happy to do it. But I'm not too keen.
Live Accessible. It's okay. Nimer. Yeah, 7 people watching. Woohoo. Yeah, I've seen up to 10 earlier, but 7 is good. I think some of them
I think
got
the most
bored.
we ever had was like 15 one time, which was craziness. I think that was about 2 months ago. I don't know what happened there, but
Was that for like the talkback one or something like that?
See, we've grown
no,
our podcast. Like our podcast is getting,
something else.
I don't know, quite a lot of
Hundreds.
listeners,
Yeah.
and so we're close to 3,000 a month. But our YouTube channel and all that has
we've been pretty slack
probably
with the
because
old
we don't really
YouTube as
do
well.
videos or whatever. But
Yeah.
maybe it's because
maybe we
we're
should
too
come on here
informal.
naked.
Yeah, we're too informal on here, so I don't know.
We'll
I don't
have
know
less
about our YouTube
subscribers
channel.
next
Hey,
week.
we'll come on naked next week, and you can work out which one's Gruff one, which one's what do they call me, Pooch Guy, and which one Kurt is, and Dennis. Yeah, there you go.
But I did promise that if we reached 1,000 subs, because that's what you need to monetize, so it's a little incentive for us anyway. Not much, but if we do reach that 1,000 subs, we will be giving away
Strip?
that $1,000. So that's
okay.
So we'll be giving
Well, I
away
think your
$1,000
$1,000 is
prize.
relatively safe, even though I gave you I was cackling away a couple of months going, let's try and see how long it'll take to, to make Nimer poor. But I think you'll be right for a while, sadly.
I'll be okay for a while. We're about 210 now, I think, somewhere. But
well, if we're growing at about 10 a week, I mean, let's work this out. That's going to be 100 weeks. So you've got a couple of years to sort of save up. Essentially.
Gen Z, I'm really going to focus on modern day 2000 games. I really appreciate you guys for the name idea. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks. That took a lot of effort.
Live accessible. What's wrong with Gruff? Hey, I don't know what's wrong with Gruff. You tell us.
Miss Tragical.
Harshid, great stuff. Thank you, Harshid. Great that you're on.
Yeah, good to have you here, man.
Yeah, hey, Harshid. I haven't heard from you for a little while.
Gen Z, also a new subscriber.
Yeah, hello, Gen Z. Is it Gen
live-
Z or Gemzy? Gen
Z?
Z?
Like
Generation Z. I don't know.
Very cool.
Yeah, you don't need to trust someone with your password. Yeah, but unfortunately, it's not really secure that way. But you can use Excel if you like. Do whatever works.
Look, there's
but I do
nothing wrong
recommend
with
the
you
password
using
manager.
Excel, but then if somebody finds that file on your computer, does a Control A or I don't know, share to somewhere else,
Save
I don't
as.
know, save as. I don't know. I wouldn't be doing it that way, but I do know of people that do.
It would be great to have with your video on. Yeah, see, I don't have
I
great
turn
lighting
mine
set
off
up at all.
usually. Yeah.
Kurt turns his off. Marco doesn't
I
have
don't
a
have one.
webcam. And
Well,
I
actually,
think
I
if
do
we
now because
saw
I'm
what-
using the laptop, so I suppose
very
I could
good.
do it. Yeah.
And if we saw what Dennis looked like, we'd probably become more blind than what we are now. No, I'm kidding, Dennis.
Does Dennis even
Why do
have
you
a
think I
cam?
turned mine off?
I actually do have an external webcam.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I don't have anything that's hooked up, and I have poor lighting, so.
Well, I'll tell you what, we can look, if there's a lot of interest in that, we'll look into that, but it's not something that I'm hugely
If anyone donates
Interested on,
$200 to the
now.
podcast, go to www.blindtechguys.com. We'll turn our cameras on. There you go. There's incentive.
I should
Incentive
turn
for
mine
the
off
cameras
now,
to
damn
come
it.
on.
Live accessible. You also need 4,000 watch hours in the past year. Yep, you do. I think if we get the 1,000 subs, that'll be good enough, and that means
Yeah.
we're growing, and
absolutely.
we'll reach the 4,000 whatever watch hours, hopefully. But we'll see what happens. So,
But as I said before, Live Accessible, the whole YouTube side, sadly, we're, I guess, a little bit lax.
Marco, your
on-
video's on now. Oh, very good.
Oh, very good.
Hey, that was me.
I'm pretty sure my video's off, but they're very good.
Mine's on now, and now it's off.
But yeah, we have been a little bit lax with our whole
On.
YouTube sides, and I think the tagging side we've been a bit lax. Anyway, feel free if anybody wants to help with the YouTube channel in terms of the tagging side and doing stuff with it. More than happy
Promoting
to,
it.
yeah, or
Anything
promoting
else
it.
with it.
Yeah, I mean, tweet us,
Editing the
Facebook
videos
us.
for us, since I
Yeah.
don't bother doing anything with that. Yeah.
That would be cool.
Anyway, I want to thank all of you guys for listening. We've been on more than
For a
2
while.
hours now.
Yeah.
Yep. I want to thank you all for listening. Please do donate to us. We have that donation page on our website. If you value the content, that's always helpful. Hit the like button, the subscribe, the little bell. Select to get all the notifications. That would be helpful. Tell all your friends about it. That's the part I care about. Share it.
Yeah.
Snack chap it. Tweet it. Whatever it. Facebook it. I don't know. And
Signal it,
Tinder.
Sure.
I mean,
Tinder it. Yeah, can you imagine going on a Tinder date and say, look, I've got to tell you about this podcast before we get down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah, how well do you think that would go?
Yeah.
We do have a Telegram. We do have we do have a Telegram, a Facebook group. All that stuff's on our website and email.
Oh, how's our Facebook group and page going this week, Nim?
We're up to 100 subs or something. I don't know.
Is it active?
I saw we got how to post there.
Yeah, I think I posted there. Anyway.
Yeah, very good.
I think if you want to join any of those communities, you're welcome to. The Telegram group, in particular, WhatsApp
that
group,
downsized.
If you found yourself removed and did not want to be, feel free to
blame Pooch, not Pooch Guy. Blame Gruff Guy.
You can blame Gruff Guy. The thing is that we're trying to build a community, and a lot of people were subscribed or signed up. And it's easy to grow. It's easy to grow a list or a group or whatever. But if you don't have the participants, you don't have the participation, you don't know who anyone is, there's no point in growing the group, frankly. And so we had something like 100 and what odd number of people on there on the Telegram channel.
Like
I haven't
6
downsized the
posting on
WhatsApp
average.
yet, but we had a good amount on there. But I've never heard from, I'd say 80 of them, or 70, at least 70.
And one of the things that really annoys me, and it does happen on the WhatsApp group, I actually had to kick a couple of people off that group a while back, is that some people just get on a group, and I have absolutely nothing wrong with collaborating with people or publicizing things, but if you just get on a group just to promote and do nothing.
Oh, I think we lost Marco.
Marco, yep, he does have his video on, apparently. Live accessible, and hit the like button, guys. Yes, hit the like button.
Yeah.
Oh,
you're back.
Yeah, Nimmer muted me. Very good.
No, I didn't actually.
Oh, didn't you? Oh, I thought you did.
No, I didn't.
No, as I was saying, it's very annoying when you have people just come onto groups just to publicize themselves. I have nothing wrong with collaborating with people and co-promoting, but it's annoying.
Yeah, at least get to know us
If it's the
first.
only thing you're posting, it becomes annoying.
Yeah,
like if
it
you're
becomes
not,
irritating.
One thing that Blind Tech Guys is, number one, we strive to be a community. We help each other out. If someone needs something, we work on figuring out how to get it to them. If someone isn't, whatever it is, we're here for each other. We have Zoom calls and all this, beer drinking parties, and whatever else, music parties. We're all a community. And at least for the Telegram group and the WhatsApp group, we try to keep those relatively tight. So it's not about how many people we have. It's about, are you willing to participate, at least to some extent? I'm not saying come on there every day, but if I haven't heard from you since you've been on and it's been 3 months, don't
And we
expect
had
to be
people
on very
that
long.
literally had got on and never ever published,
Never said anything.
publicized anything. So what's the
Never
point?
said
Like
their name,
I've
never
never
said
understood
a
the
word.
point of being on a group if you're never ever going to say anything at all.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. I don't know. Even write a text message. Well, I think it's pretty pointless. But yeah.
Gruffy and
But yeah.
Poochie, we need to come up with names for Kurt and Dennis. Yes, I agree. Live
Yeah.
accessible.
But yeah, as Nimer was saying, please hop on our page. Everything is up there pretty nicely. www.blindtechguys.com. We've got our donation link. We'd love to have you donate if you appreciate and you value the content. That'd be awesome. There's all sorts of tiers there now that you can.
Yep. We're actually
donate
spending
with.
more money now. I think we're up to like 70 a month. Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have to cut back a service. But anyway, that's all right. As we grow, so do our costs. Very good. That's
right.
what we like.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. Thank you for joining us. And we'll see you guys next week. Thank you, Marco.
All right.
Thank you, Kurt. And thank you, Dennis.
Yeah,
You're
thank you
welcome.
guys. And
See you all next week. Have an awesome week.
yeah, thank you guys. I will
cheers.
catch you hopefully in the next couple of weeks. If not, I will enjoy my time off. But Kurt, thank you as well. And Dennis, thank you too.
You're welcome.